Garden of the Lovers and Outing of the Yearners, by Imam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyyah. Translation by Muhammad Al-Amrani. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. O my sustainer, grant me ease, O noble one. Praise be to God, who has made love the path to attaining the beloved, and has established obedience to him and submission to him as the true sign of sincere love, who has stirred souls thereby towards all forms of perfection, preferring to seek and attain it, and who has instilled it in the upper and lower worlds to bring forth his perfection from potentiality to actuality, through creation, sustenance and acceptance, and who has aroused thereby the lofty aspirations and noble resolves to their most exalted goals, distinguishing them and qualifying them therefore. Glory be to him who turns hearts towards it as he wills and for what he wills by his power, who extracts through it that for which he created every living being by his wisdom, who diversifies it into kinds and categories among his creation, and details it in detail, making every beloved a portion for its lover, whether erring in his love or attaining rightly, and rendering him through his love either blessed or slain. Thus has he apportioned it among the lover of the all-merciful, the lover of idols, the lover of fires, the lover of crosses, the lover of homelands, the lover of brethren, the lover of women, the lover of youths, the lover of riches, the lover of faith, the lover of melodies, and the lover of the Qur'an. And he has preferred the people of his love, and the love of his book and his messenger over all other lovers with a surpassing preference. For through love the earth and the heavens came into being, and for its sake creatures were fashioned. For it the revolving spheres were set in motion, and through it movements reached their ends, with beginnings connected to conclusions. Through it souls attained their desires, achieved their aims, and were freed from their defects. It became their path to their Lord, and for them, apart from him, the hoped-for goal and resort. Through it they attained the good life, and tasted the sweetness of faith when they were content with God as Lord, with Islam as religion, and with Muhammad as messenger. And I bear witness that there is no deity save God, alone, without associate, the testimony of one who affirms his lordship, who bears witness to his oneness, who is led unto him by his love, who submits to him in obedience, who acknowledges his blessings, who flees unto him from his sin and his error, who hopes for his pardon and his mercy, who yearns for his forgiveness, who is quit of his own power and strength, seeking no other Lord besides him, nor taking any guardian or protector other than him, seeking refuge in him, resorting to him, desiring no shift nor change from his servitude unto him. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and his messenger, and the choicest of his creation, and the trustee of his revelation, and his emissary between him and his servants, the nearest of creation to him in access, and the greatest of them in station before him, and the most expansive of them in intercession with him, and the most beloved to him, and the most honoured by him. He sent him as a herald to faith, and a summoner to paradise, and a guide to his straight path, one who strives for his good pleasure and his love, commanding all that is right and forbidding all that is wrong. He exalted his mention, and expanded his breast, and removed from him his burden, 94:1-3. And he cast abasement and humiliation upon whosoever opposed his command, and swore by his life in his clear book 15-72, and joined his name with his own name, so that when God is mentioned, he is mentioned with him, as in the sermons, the testification of faith, and the call to prayer. For no sermon, nor testification, nor call to prayer is valid for anyone until he bears witness that he is his servant and his messenger, a testimony of certainty. A radiant one, upon whom is the seal of prophethood from God. Blessed it shines and bears witness. And the divine hath joined the name of the prophet to his own name, when in the 5 prayers the caller to prayer proclaims, I bear witness. And he derived for him from his own name, so as to exalt him. For the Lord of the throne is Mahmud, the praised, and this is Muhammad, the praiseworthy. He sent him during an interval between the messengers, and guided by him to the most upright of paths and the clearest of ways. And he enjoined upon his servants to love him, and obey him, and revere him, and to fulfil their duties toward him. And he closed all paths to paradise, opening it for no one except through his path. Thus there is no hope of winning the abundant reward, nor of salvation from the grievous punishment, save for him who follows in his footsteps. And no servant truly believes until he holds him dearer than his own self, his child, his parent, and all of mankind. So may the blessings of God, and his angels, and his prophets, and his messengers, and all his believing servants be upon him, for he proclaimed the oneness of God, and made him known to his community, and called unto him, a blessing that seeks no departure nor change. And upon his goodly family and his pure companions, and may he grant him peace in abundance. And now to proceed. Verily God, hallowed be his praise and sanctified his names, hath made these hearts into vessels. The best of them is the one most receptive to goodness and right guidance, and the worst of them is the one most receptive to error and corruption. And he hath set desire to have power over them, and hath tried them by their opposition to it, that by opposing it they might attain the garden of refuge, and that he who is not fit for paradise might, by following it, deserve a blazing fire. And he made it the mount of the soul that is ever wont to command evil, its sustenance and its nourishment, and the malady of the tranquil soul, while its opposition is its remedy. Then he, the glorious, enjoined upon the servant during this short span, which, in relation to the hereafter, is but as an hour of a day, or as the wetness that clings to a finger when dipped into the sea, to disobey the soul that commands evil, and to shun its desire, and to restrain it from its lusts, in the attainment of which lies its ruin. And he forbade it from inclining toward its pleasures, and from seeking what the covetous eyes demand with their glances, that it may receive its portion of his honour and his reward, full and complete, and that it may delight in the hereafter in measures far greater than what it forsook for God's sake in the present. And he commanded it to fast from his prohibitions, that its breaking of the fast may be with him on the day of its meeting him. And he informed it that the greater part of the day of fasting has passed, and that the festival of the meeting has drawn nigh, so that the time should not seem long to it by its slow passing. It is but an hour, and then it shall pass, and all of this shall vanish and cease to be. He prepared it for a mighty affair, and made it ready for a momentous matter, and stored up for it what no eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor has ever entered into the heart of man of everlasting bliss. And his consummate wisdom decreed that it should not reach it save by the path of hardship and toil, nor cross over to it save upon the bridge of struggle and fatigue. So he veiled it with adversities, to preserve it from the base souls that prefer vice and lowly things. But the celestial souls and the lofty aspirations girded themselves for it, and mounted the backs of their resolves in their journey toward it. And thus they journeyed upon their backs to the most noble of destinations. And a company of riders journeyed while the night had lowered its veils upon every dust-covered, dark watering place. They spurred on their resolves, between which the earth was lost, so their night journey was upon the backs of their resolves. The stars of the night showed them what they sought, upon the shoulder of Sirius and the crowns of the ostriches. So they aimed for a sanctuary not meant for any other, and in its pursuit the blame of any blamer did not touch them. They answered the call of the Beloved when he proclaimed to them, "Hasten to success," and they offered up their souls for his good pleasure with the offering of a lover, in contentment and grace. And they continued their journey to him by morning and by evening. And upon their arrival they praised their journey, for indeed the people praise the night journey at the break of dawn. They toiled for a little, and found rest for a long while. They forsook what was paltry, and in its place received what was magnificent. They placed the fleeting pleasure and the praiseworthy outcome upon the scale of reason, and the disparity became manifest to them. They saw that it was the greatest of follies to sell the goodly everlasting life in abiding bliss for the pleasure of an hour, whose craving passes, but whose wretchedness remains. Moreover, even if the days of pleasure were to be pure for the servant from the beginning of his life to its end, they would be but as a summer cloud that disperses after a short while, or the phantom of a spectre that had not completed its visit before it signalled its departure. God the Exalted has said, "Have you, then, considered this? If we were to let them enjoy life for many years, and then there comes to them that which they were promised, of what avail to them would be all that they had been allowed to enjoy?" 26:205-207. And whosoever attains his hope of God's reward, it is as if he had never been deprived by fortune of that which he used to dread and fear. And Umar ibn al-Khattab, may God be well pleased with him, used to recite this verse of poetry: "It is as though you were never once deprived by fortune, if you but attain that which you seek." And this is the fruit of the intellect, by which God, the glorious and exalted, is known, and his names, and the attributes of his perfection, and the qualities of his majesty. And by it the believers have believed in his books, and his messengers, and the meeting with him, and his angels. And by it are the signs of his lordship known, and the proofs of his oneness, and the miracles of his messengers. And by it are his commands obeyed, and his prohibitions avoided. It is that which glimpses the consequences, and thus heeds them, and acts in accordance with their benefits, and resists desire, turning back its army broken. And it assists patience until it triumphs therewith, after having been slain by its arrows. And it urges toward virtues, and forbids vices, and unfolds meanings, and comprehends subtleties, and strengthens the resolve, until it stands firm upon its stalk, and reinforces prudence until it is favoured with success from God. Thus it draws in what is seemly, and banishes what is shameful. And if it is left to its own dominion, it captures the soldiers of desire, and imprisons them in the confinement of whosoever leaves something for the sake of God, God will compensate him with something better. Bista determinetur os. And it raises its possessor to the stations of kings, whereas desire reduces the king to the station of an owned slave. It is a tree whose roots are contemplation of the consequences, whose trunk is patience, whose branches are knowledge, whose leaves are good character, and whose fruit is wisdom. And its substance is the success granted by him in whose hands are the reins of all affairs, and from him is their beginning, and to him is their end. And if this be its description, then it is unseemly that its enemy should be given sway over it, to depose it from its kingdom, and to demote it from its rank, and to bring it down from its station, so that it becomes a captive after it was a prince, and ruled over after it was a ruler, and a follower after it was followed. Whosoever abides by its judgment, it will pasture him in the meadows of hopes and wishes, and whosoever departs from its judgment, it will lead him to the watering holes of ruin and destruction. Ali ibn Abi Talib, may God be well pleased with him, said, "Indeed, there have hastened to the gardens of Eden peoples who were not the most frequent in prayer, nor fasting, nor pilgrimage, nor umrah. Rather, they comprehended the exhortations of God, so their hearts trembled in awe of him, and their souls found tranquillity in him, and their limbs humbled themselves before him. Thus they surpassed all people in the goodness of their station, and the loftiness of their rank, among men in this world, and with God in the hereafter." And Umar ibn al-Khattab, may God be well pleased with him, said, "The intelligent man is not he who knows good from evil, but he who knows the better of two evils." And Aisha, may God be well pleased with her, said, "He has indeed prospered for whom God has granted an intellect." And Ibn Abbas, may God be well pleased with them both, said, "A child was born to Kisra. So he summoned one of the tutors and placed the boy before him, saying, 'What is the best thing that this newborn could be given?' He replied, 'An intellect with which he is born.' He asked, 'And if that is not to be?' He replied, 'Then goodly manners with which to live among people.' He asked, 'And if that is not to be?' He replied, 'Then a thunderbolt to burn him.' And one of the people of knowledge said, 'When God, blessed and exalted, sent Adam down to the earth, Gabriel, upon him be peace, came to him with three things: religion, character, and intellect. He said, "Verily, God gives you a choice among these three." Adam said, "O Gabriel, I have not seen anything more beautiful than these, save in paradise." He extended his hand to the intellect and drew it to himself. He then said to the other two, "Ascend." But they replied, "We have been commanded to be with the intellect, wherever it may be." Thus all three came to Adam, upon him be peace. And these three are the greatest honour with which God has honoured his servant, and the most magnificent gift he has given him. And he has set for them three enemies: desire, Satan, and the soul that is ever wont to command evil. And the war between them alternates in victory and defeat, and victory comes from God alone, the Almighty, the All-Wise, 3:126. And Wahb ibn Munabbih said, "I have read in some of what God the Exalted has revealed. The devil has not struggled against anything more severe for him than a believing, intelligent man. And indeed he can lead 100 ignorant men, and drag them along until he rides upon their necks, and they are led by him wherever he wishes. But he struggles with the believing, intelligent man, and it is difficult for him until he obtains from him some small part of his need. And indeed, he said, the removal of a mountain, rock by rock, is easier for the devil than struggling with the believing, intelligent man. And if he cannot overcome him, he turns to the ignorant man and takes him captive and gains control of his reins until he delivers him to scandals by which he is hastened in this world: flogging, stoning, amputation, crucifixion, and disgrace, and in the hereafter shame, fire, and ignominy. And indeed 2 men may be equal in righteousness, yet the difference in virtue between them may be as that between the east and the west, on account of the intellect. And God has not been worshipped with anything more excellent than the intellect. And Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may God be well pleased with him, said, "If an intelligent man were to rise in the morning and set in the evening with sins as numerous as the grains of sand, he would be on the verge of salvation and deliverance from them. And if an ignorant man were to rise in the morning and set in the evening with good deeds and acts of righteousness as numerous as the grains of sand, he would be on the verge of not a single atom's weight of them remaining safe for him. It was asked, "And how is that?" He replied, "Because the intelligent man, when he slips, rectifies it with repentance and the intellect with which he has been endowed. But the ignorant man is like one who builds and then demolishes, for there comes to him from his ignorance that which corrupts his righteous deeds." And Al-Hasan said, "A man's religion is not complete until his intellect is complete, and God has not endowed a man with an intellect without rescuing him with it one day." And one of the wise said, "He whose intellect is not the most dominant of things over him, his doom and his destruction will be in the things most beloved to him." And Yusuf ibn Asbat said, "The intellect is the lamp of what is hidden, the adornment of what is manifest, the governor of the body, and the cornerstone of the servant's affair. Life is not set right except by it, and affairs do not revolve except upon it." And Abdullah ibn Mubarak was asked, "What is the best thing a man can be given after Islam?" He replied, "An innate intellect." It was asked, "And if he does not have that?" He replied, "Goodly manners." It was asked, "And if he does not have that?" He replied, "A righteous brother whom he consults." It was asked, "And if he does not have that?" He replied, "A long silence." It was asked, "And if he does not have that?" He replied, "A swift death." And concerning this it was said, "God has not bestowed upon a man a gift more beautiful than his intellect and his goodly manners. They are the beauty of a youth. If they are lost, then his loss of life is the more beautiful for him. And when the dominion belongs to the intellect, desire makes peace with it and becomes one of its servants and followers, just as when the dominion belongs to desire, the intellect becomes a captive in its hands, ruled over. And since the servant is not free from desire as long as he lives, for his desire is inseparable from him, the command to depart from desire entirely is nigh on impossible. But what is within his power and what he is commanded to do is to divert his desire from the pastures of perdition to the abodes of safety and well-being. An example of this is that God, the glorious and exalted, did not command him to turn his heart away from the desire for women altogether. Rather, he commanded him to divert that desire to marrying those who are pleasing to him, from 1 to 4, and of bondwomen as he may wish. Thus the channel of desire is diverted from one place to another, and the wind, which was a westerly gale, is transformed into an easterly breeze. Likewise, the desire for victory, dominance, and conquest, he did not command that it be abandoned, but rather commanded that it be diverted to victory, conquest, and dominance over falsehood and its party. And he has prescribed for him various forms of competition in racing and other things that train him and prepare him for victory. Likewise, the desire for pride, boasting, and vainglory is permitted, nay, even recommended, in warfare against the enemies of God. The Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, saw Abu Dujana, Simak ibn Kharasha al-Ansari, strutting between the two ranks, and he said, "Verily, this is a gait that God despises, except in a situation such as this." And he said, "Verily, there is a kind of vainglory that God loves, and a kind that God despises. That which he loves is a man's swagger in war and at the time of giving charity." And he mentioned the rest of the hadith. For God has not forbidden his servants a thing without compensating them with something better than it. Just as he forbade them divining by arrows, and compensated them for it with the prayer of seeking guidance, istikhara. And he forbade them usury, and compensated them for it with profitable trade. And he forbade them gambling, and compensated them for it with the gaining of wealth through beneficial competitions in matters of religion, with horses, camels, and arrows. And he forbade them silk, and compensated them for it with various kinds of magnificent garments of wool, linen, and cotton. And he forbade them fornication and sodomy, and compensated them for them with marriage and concubinage with all manner of beautiful women. And he forbade them the drinking of intoxicants, and compensated them for it with delicious drinks beneficial to the spirit and the body. And he forbade them the hearing of instruments of diversion, of stringed instruments and lutes, and compensated them for it with the hearing of the magnificent Qur'an and the 7 oft-recited verses. And he forbade them impure foods, and compensated them for them with wholesome foods. Whosoever reflects upon this and contemplates it, the forsaking of destructive desire becomes easy for him, and he is compensated for it with what is beneficial and useful. And he comes to know the wisdom of God, and his mercy, and the perfection of his blessing upon his servants in what he has commanded them, and what he has forbidden them, and what he has permitted for them. And that he did not command them with what he commanded out of any need for them, nor did he forbid them from what he forbade out of any miserliness toward them. Rather, he commanded them with what he commanded as a grace and mercy from him, and forbade them from what he forbade as a protection and a safeguard for them. For that reason we have composed this book as a treaty of peace between desire and the intellect. And if the treaty of peace between them is concluded, the warring against the soul and Satan becomes easy for the servant. And God is the one whose help is sought, and upon him is all reliance. Whatever in it is correct is from God, for he is the granter of success and the helper therein. And whatever in it is mistaken is from me and from Satan, and God and his messenger are free from that. I have arranged it into 29 chapters. The first chapter, concerning the names of love. The second chapter, concerning the derivation of these names and their meanings. The third chapter, concerning the relation of these names one to another. The fourth chapter, concerning that the celestial and terrestrial worlds were brought into being by love and for its sake. The fifth chapter, concerning the motives for love and its object. The sixth chapter, concerning the rulings on the gaze, its perils, and what it inflicts upon its master. The seventh chapter, concerning a debate between the heart and the eye. The eighth chapter, concerning the specious arguments of those who permit gazing upon one for whom enjoyment is not lawful, and permit being enamoured of them. The ninth chapter, concerning the response to the arguments of this group, and what is for them and against them in this argumentation. The 10th chapter, concerning the reality of passionate love, ishq, its descriptions and what people have said about it. The 11th chapter, concerning passionate love, and whether it is involuntary and beyond one's choice, or a matter of choice, and the disagreement of people on this, and the mention of what is correct therein. The 12th chapter, concerning the intoxication of lovers. The 13th chapter, concerning that pleasure is subsequent to love in its perfection and imperfection. The 14th chapter, concerning those who have praised passionate love and wished for it, and envied its possessor for the fulfilment of his desires. The 15th chapter, concerning those who have censured passionate love and become weary of it, and the arguments of each party for the soundness of its view. The 16th chapter, concerning the judgment between the two parties, and the settling of the dispute between the two factions. The 17th chapter, concerning the recommendation of choosing a beautiful form for the union which God and his messenger love. The 18th chapter, concerning that the remedy for lovers lies in the perfection of the union which the Lord of the worlds has permitted. The 19th chapter, concerning the virtue of beauty and the inclination of souls toward it in all circumstances. The 20th chapter, concerning the signs of love and its evidences. The 21st chapter, concerning that love requires singling out the beloved with love, and not associating any other with him in it. The 22nd chapter, concerning the jealousy of lovers over their beloveds. The 23rd chapter, concerning the chastity of lovers with their beloveds. The 24th chapter, concerning the treading of the two forbidden paths, and the corruption and pains to which it leads. The 25th chapter, concerning compassion for lovers and interceding for them with their beloveds, for the union which the religion permits. The 26th chapter, concerning lovers who forsake the lesser of two beloved things in desire for the higher of them. The 27th chapter, concerning one who forsakes his beloved unlawfully and is then offered it lawfully, or is compensated by God with something better. The 28th chapter, concerning one who prefers the immediate punishment and pains over the pleasure of a forbidden union. The 29th chapter, concerning the censure of desire and what is gained of one's wishes by opposing it, and I have named it the meadow of lovers and the diversion of the yearning. And it is hoped of him who comes upon this book that he will pardon its author, for he composed it while far from his homeland and absent from his books. So what can be expected from his weary mind and his strained effort with his scanty merchandise, of which it is truly said of its bearer, "To hear of the Mu'adi is better than to see him." And here he has set himself up as a target for the arrows of the archers, and a mark for the spear points of the detractors. So to its reader belongs its gain, and upon its author lies its burden. And this is his merchandise displayed before you, and his offering presented to you. If it should find a noble and worthy peer, it will not lack from him either a gracious acceptance or a beautiful release. And if it should find other than that, then in God is our aid sought, and upon him is our reliance. And he is content as its dowry with a sincere supplication if it meets with acceptance and approval, and with a gentle rejection if its lot is disdain and scorn. The fair-minded man forgives the mistakes of the mistaken for the sake of his right doings, and his evils for the sake of his good deeds. For this is the way of God among his servants, as reward and recompense. And who is he whose every word is sound, and whose every deed is correct? And is that for anyone but the infallible one, who does not speak from desire, but whose speech is a revelation revealed? What is authentically reported from him is a confirmed transmission from an infallible speaker. But as for what comes from other than him, the certainty of both matters is absent. For if the transmission is sound, the speaker was not infallible, and if it is not sound, its reaching him is not known. And this book is suitable for all classes of people, for it serves as an aid to both religion and the world, and a ladder to the pleasure of the immediate and the pleasure of the hereafter. And in it are mentioned the categories of love, its rulings, its objects, its sound and its corrupt forms, its maladies and its perils, its causes and its impediments, and what is suitable thereto of exegetical points, prophetic traditions, jurisprudential issues, reports from the early generations, poetic evidences, and real-world occurrences, in a way that will be delightful for its reader and refreshing for him who looks into it. If he wishes, he may find it full of seriousness, and it will give him encouragement and warning. And if he wishes, he may take his share of its humour and its pleasantries. At times it will make him laugh, and at times it will make him weep. Now it will distance him from the causes of fleeting pleasure, and now it will make him desire it and draw him near. If you wish, you will find it a sincere admonisher, and if you wish, you will find it indulgent regarding your share of pleasure, desire, and union with the beloved. And this is the time to commence with the chapters, and God, the glorious, is the opener of every door of goodness. And he, the glorious, is the one who is asked to make it purely for his noble countenance, and a means of drawing near to his good pleasure and the triumph of the gardens of bliss. And God is the guardian of the secret heart of the servant and his earning, and he, the glorious, is present at the tongue of every speaker and in his heart. And say, do as you will, for God will see your deeds, and so will his messenger and the believers. And you will be returned to the knower of the unseen and the seen, and he will inform you of what you used to do. 9:105. The first chapter, concerning the names of love. Since their familiarity with this concept was great, and it was most attached to their hearts, its names with them were many. And this is their custom with all that to which their familiarity is strong, or which often crosses their minds, either to magnify it, or to give it importance, or out of love for it. The first is like the lion and the sword. The second is like calamity. The third is like wine. And these three meanings have come together in love, so they have assigned to it close to 60 names. Al-Mahabba, love. Al-Alaqa, attachment. Al-Hawa, desire. Al-Sabwa, infatuation. Al-Sababa, ardor. Al-Shaghaf, passion. Al-Miqa, affection. Al-Wajd, longing. Al-Kalaf, doting. Al-Tatayum, enslavement. Al-Ishq, passionate love. Al-Jawa, burning grief. Al-Danaf, chronic illness. Al-Shaju, melancholy. Al-Shawuq, yearning. Al-Khilaba, deceitful love. Al-Balabil, anxieties. Al-Tabari, torments. Al-Sadam, grief. Al-Ghamarat, overwhelming feelings. Al-Wahal, fright. Al-Shajan, distress. Al-La'ij, burning pain. Al-Iktiab, depression. Al-Wasab, ailment. Al-Huzn, sorrow. Al-Kamad, stifled grief. Al-Lad, stinging pain. Al-Huraq, burning sensations. Al-Suht, sleeplessness. Al-Araq, insomnia. Al-Lahaf, regret. Al-Hanin, nostalgia. Al-Istikana, submissiveness. Al-Tabala, ruin. Al-Lawa, anguish. Al-Futun, obsession. Al-Junun, madness. Al-Amam, slight madness. Al-Kabal, derangement. Al-Rasis, deep-seated love. Al-Da al-Mukhamir, the fermenting disease. Al-Wud, friendship. Al-Kulla, intimate friendship. Al-Khilm, bosom friend. Al-Garam, infatuation. Al-Huyam, mad love. Al-Tadlih, bewilderment. Al-Wala, distraction. And Al-Ta'abud, worshipfulness. Other names have been mentioned for it besides these, but they are not its names, but rather its effects and consequences, so we have omitted their mention. The second chapter, concerning the derivation of these names and their meanings. As for al-Mahabba, love, it has been said that its origin is from purity, for the Arabs call the purity of the whiteness of the teeth and their radiance Habab al-Asnan. And it has been said that it is taken from al-Habab, which is that which rises upon the water during a heavy rain. According to this, love is the boiling and surging of the heart when it is stirred to meet the beloved. And it has been said that it is derived from adherence and steadfastness, and from this comes the saying, Ahabba al-Ba'ir, the camel stubbornly knelt, when it knelt and would not rise. The poet said, "You drove it across the desert with a striking like that of a wretched camel when it stubbornly knelt. It is as though the heart of the lover has adhered to his beloved and does not seek to move away from it. And it has been said, nay, it is taken from restlessness and agitation, from which the earring is called a hib, because of its restlessness and agitation in the ear." The poet said, "The hissing serpent spends the night in place of it, in the place of the earring, listening to secrets." And it has been said, nay, it is taken from al-hab, the plural of habar, a seed, which is the core and purest part and origin of a thing, for the seed is the origin of the plant and the tree. And it has been said, nay, it is taken from al-hab, which is a wide vessel in which something is placed, and it becomes so full that it cannot contain anything else. Likewise, the heart of the lover has no space for anything other than his beloved. And it has been said that it is taken from al-hub, which are the 4 pieces of wood upon which a jar or other vessel is set to rest. Love was so named because the lover endures burdens for the sake of his beloved, just as the wooden supports endure the weight of what is placed upon them. And it has been said, nay, it is taken from habat al-qalb, which is the black spot of the heart, and it is said, its fruit. Love was so named because of its reaching the very seed of the heart. This is similar to their saying, Zaharahu, he struck his back. Ra'asahu, he struck his head. Ra'ahu, he struck his lung. And Batanahu, he struck his stomach. But in these verbs, the effect of the agent reaches the object, whereas in love, the effect reaches only the lover. Furthermore, there are 2 forms of the verb, haba and ahaba. The poet said, "I love Abu Marwan for the sake of his dates, and I know that gentleness with a man is most gentle. And by God, were it not for his dates, I would not have loved him, nor would he have been closer than Ubaid and Mushrik." Thus did al-Jawhari cite it, with an imperfect rhyme, combining the 2 verbal forms. But in the active form and the active participle, they have favoured the 4-letter form, saying, Ahabbahu yuhibbuhu, fahuwa muhib. He loved him, he loves him, so he is a lover. And in the passive participle, they have favoured the 3-letter form, saying in most cases mahbub, beloved, and they did not say muhab except rarely. The poet said, "And indeed you have alighted, so think no other, in a station with me of the cherished, honoured beloved." This is from the 4-letter form af'ala. As for Habib, they mostly use it to mean the beloved. He said, "And I did not visit Layla for her to be a beloved unto me, nor is there a debt from her that I am seeking." And they have also used it to mean the lover. The poet said, "The soul has not forsaken you because you are of little worth to it, nor because its share of you has diminished. But rather, O most beautiful of people, they have become fond of saying, whenever I come, this is her lover." This could mean either the beloved or the lover. As for al-hib, with a kasra on the ha, it is a variant of al-hub, and it is most often used to mean the beloved. In the Sihah, it is said, al-hub is love, and likewise al-hib with a kasra. And al-hib also means the beloved, like kidn and khadin. I say this is like dib, meaning that which is slaughtered, nihb meaning that which is plundered, and rishk meaning that which is shot at. And from this is al-sib, the one who insults or is insulted, and it is shared between the agent and the object. Abu Ubaid said, al-sib with a kasra is one who insults frequently. Al-Jawhari said, and your sib is the one who insults you. Hassan said, do not you dare insult me, for you are not my match in insult. Verily, my match in insult among men is the noble one. And what is correct is that it was Abd al-Rahman ibn Hassan, and the source and the object can share a form, like rizq, sustenance. And in their giving the dhamma of the ha to the verbal noun, and its kasra to the object, there is a subtle secret, for the kasra is lighter than the dhamma, and the beloved is lighter upon their hearts than love itself. So they gave the light vowel to the lighter concept, and the heavy one to the heavier. And it is said, Ahabahu huban wa mahabatan, he loved him with love and affection, and al-mahabba is the mother of these names. As for what people have said in defining it, it is abundant. It has been said, it is the constant inclination of a captivated heart. And it has been said, it is the preference of the beloved over all companions. And it has been said, it is conformity with the beloved in presence and in absence. And it has been said, it is the union of the will of the lover and the will of the beloved. And it has been said, it is the preference of the will of the beloved over the will of the lover. And it has been said, it is the performance of service along with the upholding of reverence. And it has been said, it is to deem much from yourself for your beloved as little, and to deem little from him to you as much. And it has been said, it is the dominance of the remembrance of the beloved over the heart of the lover. And it has been said, its reality is that you give your all to the one you love, so that nothing of you remains for yourself. And it has been said, it is that you efface from your heart all save the beloved. And it has been said, it is jealousy for the beloved, that his sanctity should not be diminished, and jealousy for the heart, that there should be anything in it other than him. And it has been said, it is the will that does not diminish with harshness, nor increase with kindness. And it has been said, it is the preservation of the sacred bounds, for he is not truthful who claims love for one whose bounds he does not preserve. And it has been said, it is your standing for your beloved with all that he loves from you. And it has been said, it is the shunning of solace in all circumstances, as it has been said. He who from the length of desire has tasted solace, verily from Layla I am one who will not taste it. And the greatest thing I attained of her union were wishes that proved not true, like the flash of a lightning bolt. And it has been said, it is a fire that burns from the heart all save the will of the beloved. And it has been said, it is the remembrance of the beloved with every breath, as it has been said. The heart is desired to forget you, but its nature rebels against the one who would change it. And it has been said, it is the blindness of the heart to seeing any other than the beloved, and its deafness to hearing any blame concerning him. And in the hadith, your love for a thing blinds and deafens, as related by Imam Ahmad. And it has been said, it is your inclining to the beloved with your whole self, then your preferring him over your own self, your soul, and your wealth. Then your conforming to him in secret and in public. Then your knowledge of your own shortcoming in your love for him. And it has been said, it is your expending of effort in what pleases the beloved. And it has been said, it is a tranquillity without agitation, and an agitation without tranquillity. For the heart is agitated and finds no rest except with its beloved, and it is agitated with yearning for him, and finds rest in his presence. And this is the meaning of the saying of some, it is the perpetual motion of the heart toward the beloved and its resting with him. And it has been said, it is the perpetual companionship of the beloved, as it has been said. And it is a wonder that I yearn for them. and ask about them whomever I meet, though they are with me. And my eye seeks them, though they are in its pupil, and my heart longs for them, though they are between my ribs. And it has been said, it is that the beloved be closer to the lover than his own soul, as it has been said, O you who dwell in my thoughts and my heart, though you are far from my sight and my gaze. You are my soul. Though I may not see it, it is yet closer to me than any that is near. And it has been said, it is the constant presence of the beloved with the lover, as it has been said. Your image is in my eye, and your mention on my tongue, and your abode is in my heart. So where could you be absent? And it has been said, it is that the nearness of the beloved's dwelling and its distance become equal to the lover, as it has been said. O you who dwell between my ribs and my innermost being, though your abodes are far from me. Be kind to a lover captivated by your love. If you do not unite with him, his very core will shatter. He does not recover from his passion, and whenever they veil you from him, his veils are rent asunder. And it has been said, it is the steadfastness of the heart to the rulings of passion, and finding pleasure in the blame and reproach concerning it, as it has been said. Desire has halted me where you are, so I have no way to retreat from it, nor to advance. And you have abased me, so I have abased my own soul diligently. He who is of no worth to you is not among those who are honoured. You have come to resemble my enemies, so I have come to love them, since my lot from you is the same as my lot from them. I find the blame in my love for you to be delicious, out of love for your name, so let the blamers blame. As for al-alaka, attachment, and it is also called al-alaq, of the measure al-falak, it is one of its names. Al-Jawhari said, and al-alaq is also desire. It is said, a glance from one who has attachment. The poet said, and indeed, I wished for patience from you, but I was hindered by an ancient attachment in my heart from my love for you. And one says, alikaha, he became attached to her, with a kasra, and alika hubuha biqalbihi, her love became attached to his heart, meaning he loved her, and he became attached to her, ulukan. It was called attachment, alaka, because of the heart's attachment to the beloved. The poet said, an attachment for al-Wulayid, after the branches of your head are like the whitened thagum plant. As for al-Hawa, desire, it is the inclination of the soul toward a thing. Its verb is hawiya, yahwa, hawan, like amir, yama, aman. As for hawa, yahwi, with a fatha, it means to fall, and its verbal noun is al-huwi with a damar, and al-hawa is also used for the beloved himself. The poet said, she who claimed your heart had wearied of her was created your desire, just as you were created a desire for her. And it is said, this is the desire of so-and-so is his desire, meaning his desired one and his beloved. It is most often used for blameworthy love, as God the Exalted has said. But as for him who feared the standing before his Lord and restrained the soul from its desire, then indeed paradise will be the refuge. 79-40-41. And it is said that it was named Hawa, because it causes its possessor to fall, Yahweh. It may also be used for praiseworthy love in a restricted sense. From this is the saying of the Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace. None of you truly believes until his desire is in accordance with what I have brought. In the two Sahihs, it is related from Urwa that he said, Khawla bint Hakim was one of those who offered themselves to the Prophet. May God bless him and grant him peace. Aisha, may God be well pleased with her, said, does a woman not feel shame to offer herself to a man? So when the verse was revealed, "You may put off whom you will of them," 33:51, I said, "O Messenger of God, I see that your Lord only hastens to fulfill your desire." And in the story of the captives of Badr, Umar ibn al-Khattab, may God be well pleased with him, said, "The Messenger of God, may God bless him and grant him peace, was inclined toward what Abu Bakr, may God be well pleased with him, said, and was not inclined toward what I said." And he mentioned the rest of the hadith. And in the Sunan it is related that a Bedouin said to the Prophet, "May God bless him and grant him peace. I have come to ask you about desire." He replied, "A man is with the one he loves." As for al-Sabwa and al-Siba, infatuation, they are also among its names. In the Sihah it is said al-Siba is from yearning. From it is said tasaba, he feigned infatuation, and Saba, Yasbu, Sabwatan were Subuwan, meaning he inclined toward youthful folly, and a maiden Asbathu infatuated him, and Sabia Saba'an, like Samia Sama'an, meaning he played with the youths. I say the origin of the word is from inclination. It is said Saba ila kadha, he inclined toward such and such. It was called al-Sabwa because of its possessor's inclination toward the young woman, al-Sabiyah. The plural is Sabaya, like Matiyya and Mataya, and al-Tasabi is the feigning of infatuation, like al-Tamayul and its cognates. The difference between al-Siba, al-Sabwa, and al-Tasabi is that al-Tasabi is the feigning of infatuation, to act the part of one who is infatuated. As for al-Siba, it is the inclination itself, and as for al-Sabwa, it is a single instance of that, like al-Gashwa, a swoon, and al-Kabwa, a stumble, though it can also be used for a lasting quality, like al-Kaswa, hardness of heart. And Joseph the Truthful, upon him be peace, said, "And unless you turn their plot away from me, I might incline toward them and be of the ignorant." 12:33. As for al-Sababa, ardour, in the Sihah it is said, it is the tenderness and heat of yearning. It is said a man is sab, ardent, a lover who is yearning, and you are sabibta, O man, with a kasra. The poet said, "And you are not one ardent for those who are departing, if your friend is not ardent." I say al-Sababa is from the doubled root sabba, yasabu, whereas al-Siba and al-Sabwa are from the weak root, and they often interchange between them, so there is a phonetic and semantic affinity between them. He said, "The lovers complained of ardour, would that I alone had borne what they suffer among them." And it is said, a man is sab and a woman is sab, just as it is said, a man is adl, just, and a woman is adl. As for al-Shaghaf, passion, it is also among its names. God the Exalted has said, he has impassioned her with love, 12:30. Al-Jawhari and others have said, al-Shaghaf is the pericardium, which is a membrane below the heart, like a veil. It is said, Shaghafaha al-Hub, love reached her pericardium. And Ibn Abbas, may God be well pleased with them both, recited, Kad Shaghafaha Huban, and then said, his love entered beneath the pericardium. As for al-Sha'af, with an ain without a dot, in the Sihah it is said, Sha'afahu al-Hub, love burned his heart. And Abu Zaid said, it made him ill. And one says, Shu'ifa bi kadha, he was made passionately fond of such and such, so he is mashuf. And Al-Hasan recited, Qad sha'afaha huban, and said, it has filled her innards with love. As for al-miqa, affection, it is of the form fi'la from wamiqa yamiku. Al-miqa is love, and the ha is a compensation for the waw, like al-iza, al-ida, and al-zina, for their origin is fi'l. They deleted the fa of the root and compensated for it with the feminine ta, to mend the word and compensate for what was lost. The verb is wamikahu, yamikahu, with a kasra in both, meaning he loved him, so he is wamik. As for al-wajd, longing, it is the love that is followed by sorrow. And al-wajd is most often used for sorrow. From it is said wajada wajdan with a fatha. We shall now mention this root and its conjugations. It is said wajada matlubahu yajiduhu wujudan. He found what he sought. If this pertains to a lost animal, they call it wijdan. And wajada alayhi fil ghadab mawjidatan. He was angry with him. And wajada fil huzn wajdan with a fatha. He felt sorrow. And wajada fil mal, he became wealthy, wajdan, wujdan, wawujdan, with fatha, dhamma and kasra, and jidatan when he became rich. As for applying the name al-wajd to mere love, it is not known. It is only applied to a love that is accompanied by a loss that causes sorrow. As for al-kalaf, doting, it is also one of the names of love. It is said, kaliftu bihada al-amr. I became infatuated with this matter, meaning I became fond of it, so I am caliph with it. He said, so learn that I have become infatuated with you. Then do what you will, with knowledge. And the origin of the word is from hardship and difficulty. It is said, kalafahu taklifan. He tasked him, when he commands him to do something difficult. God, the Exalted, has said, God does not charge a soul except with that within its capacity, 2.286, and from this is takalaftu al-amra, I undertook the matter with difficulty, and al-kulfa is what one undertakes of a hardship or a duty, and al-mutakallif is one who meddles in what does not concern him. God the Exalted has said, say, I do not ask you for it any payment, nor am I of the pretenders. 3886. And it has been said, it is taken from a mark, which is something that appears on the face like sesame seeds. And al-kalaf is also a colour between black and red, which is a murky redness that covers the face. The noun is al-kulfa. As for al-tatayum, enslavement, it is servitude. In the Sihah, it is said, Taym Allah means the servant of God. Its origin is from their saying, Tayyamahu al-hub. Love enslaved him and humbled him. So he is mutayyam. And it is said, Tamathu al-mara. The woman enslaved him. Laqit ibn Zurara said, she has enslaved your heart, though it may not grieve you what she has done, one of the women of the Banu Dhuhl ibn Shayban. As for al-ishq, passionate love, it is the prince of these names and their chief. The Arabs rarely indulged in it, and it is as if they veiled its name and alluded to it with these other names, for they hardly ever stated it plainly. You will scarcely find it in their ancient poetry. Rather, the later poets were fond of it. This word does not appear in the Qur'an nor in the Sunnah, except in the hadith of Suwayd ibn Sa'id, which we shall discuss, God willing. Yet they have used it in their speech. The poet said, and what can the slanderers possibly say, other than to say that I am your passionate lover? Yes, the slanderers have spoken the truth. You are beloved to me, even if your character is not pure. In the Sihah it is said, al-ishq is an excess of love. And one says, ashikaha ishkan, like alima ilman, and also ashakan, according to Al-Farra. Ruba said, and he did not lose her between aversion and passion. Ibn al-Sarraj said, he gave it a vowel out of poetic necessity, and did not give it a kasra to follow the ayn, as if he disliked the combination of two kasras, for this is rare in nouns. And a man is ishik, of the measure physic, meaning one who is often in passionate love. And alta ashuk is the feigning of passionate love. Al-Farra said, they say a woman is muhib, a loving one, to her husband, and ashik, a passionate one. And Ibn Sida said, Al-Ishq is the lover's admiration for the beloved, and it can be in chaste love or in debauchery, meaning in chastity and in immorality. And it has been said, Al-Ishq is the noun, and Al-Ashaq is the verbal noun. And it has been said, it is taken from a tree called ashika, which grows green, then becomes delicate and yellow. Al-Zajjaji said, and the derivation of ashik is from that. And Al-Farra said, ashika ishkan wa ashakan, when one loves to excess. And al-ashik is the agent, and al-mashuk is the object, and al-ashik can be used for both. And a woman is ashik and ashika. He said, and a pleasure like the taste of Sarkadi wine I cast away on the evening of the 5th day of the people's thirst, while the eye was impassioned. And Al-Farra said, Al-Ishq is a sticky plant, and the love that comes from a person was so named for its clinging to the heart. And Ibn al-Arabi said, Al-Ashaka is the bindweed that grows green and then yellow and clings to the trees next to it. And from this was derived the word Ashik. And people have differed on whether this name may be applied to God the Exalted. A group of the Sufis said there is no harm in applying it, and they mentioned an unproven tradition concerning it, in which it is said, and when he does that, he becomes my passionate lover, and I become his. But the majority of people have said this is not applied to him, the glorious. So it is not said that he is a passionate lover, nor is it said that his servant is his passionate lover. Then they differed on the reason for the prohibition, based on 3 opinions. The first, the lack of a scriptural warrant, unlike with Mahabba. The second, that Ishq is an excess of love, and this is not possible in the right of God the Exalted, for God the Exalted is not described with excess in anything. Nor can his servant reach what he deserves of his love, let alone be said to have been excessive in his love for him. The third, that it is taken from change, as is said of the aforementioned tree, the Ashika. And this is not applied to God, the glorious. As for al-Jawa, burning grief. In the Sihah it is said, Al-Jawa is the burning and intensity of longing from passionate love or from sorrow. From it you say, Jawiya al-Rajul, with a kasra, so he is Jaween, like Daween. And from this, stagnant putrid water is called Jaween. The poet said, then its mixture was the water of a cloud, not stagnant, putrid, nor trodden. As for al-Danaf, chronic illness, the Arabs hardly use it for love. Rather, the later poets were fond of it. The Arabs only used it for illness. In the Sihah it is said, al-Danaf, with a fatah on the dal and nun, is a persistent illness. And a man is also Danaf, meaning with a fatah on the nun, and a woman is Danaf, and a group of people are Danaf. The masculine, feminine, dual and plural are all the same. If you say a man is Danif, you would say a woman is Danifa, and you would make it feminine, dual and plural. And the sick man Danifa, with a kasra, grew gravely ill, and Adnafa, with an alif, is the same. And the illness Adnafahu made him ill. It is both transitive and intransitive. So he is Mudnif and Mudnaf. I say it is as if they borrowed this name for persistent love, likening it to a persistent illness, and God knows best. As for al-Shaju, melancholy, it is love that is followed by anxiety and sorrow. In the Sihah it is said, al-Shaju is anxiety and sorrow. It is said, Shajahu yashjuhu shajwan, when it grieves him, and Ashjahu yushjihi ishjan, when it chokes him. From both you say, Shajia, with a kasra, Yashja shajan. He said, do not deny the killing, for we have been taken captive. In your throat is a bone, and we have been choked. He meant hulukakum, your throats. And al-shaja is what gets stuck in the throat, be it a bone or something else. And a man is shajin, meaning sorrowful, and a woman is shajiya, of the form fa'ila. So this name was applied to love for its persistence, like the shaja that clings to the throat and gets stuck in it. As for al-shawq, yearning, it is the journeying of the heart to the beloved, and this name has appeared in the Sunnah. In the Musnad, from the hadith of Ammar ibn Yasir, he prayed a prayer and made it brief. It was said to him, "You have been brief, O Abu al-Yaqzan." He replied, "I have indeed supplicated in it with supplications I heard from the Messenger of God. May God bless him and grant him peace, with which he used to supplicate, O God, by your knowledge of the unseen and your power over creation, grant me life if life is better for me, and grant me death if death is better for me. And I ask you for your fear in the unseen and the seen. And I ask you for the word of truth in anger and in contentment. And I ask you for moderation in poverty and in wealth. And I ask you for a bliss that does not end. And I ask you for a coolness of the eye that is not cut off. And I ask you for contentment after the decree. And I ask you for a cool life after death. And I ask you for the pleasure of gazing upon your countenance, and the yearning to meet you, without harmful adversity or a trial that leads astray. O God, adorn us with the adornment of faith, and make us guides who are rightly guided. And in an Israelite tradition it is said, "The yearning of the righteous for their meeting with me has grown long, and I am yet more yearning for their meeting with me." And God the Exalted has said, "Whoever hopes for the meeting with God, then indeed the term of God is coming," 29:5. One of the Gnostics said, "When God knew the yearning of the lovers for their meeting with him, he set for them an appointed time for the meeting, by which their hearts might find tranquility." Furthermore, this word is one of the names of love. In the Sihah it is said, "Al-Shawq and al-Ishtiyaq is the soul's drawing toward a thing." It is said, "Shaqani al-shay'u yashuquni fahuwa sha'iq wa anna mashuq." The thing made me yearn, it makes me yearn, so it is yearning, inducing, and I am yearned for. And shawwakani fatashawwaqtu, when it stirs your yearning. The Rajaz poet said, "O abode of Maya by the soft glistening dunes, a drink to you. You have stirred the yearning of the one made to yearn." He means al-Mushtaq. Sibawi said, "He has added a Hamza to what is not Hamzated out of poetic necessity. It has been differed upon the difference between al-Shawq and al-Ishtiyaq. Which of them is stronger?" A group said, "Al-Shawq is stronger, for it is a lasting quality, whereas al-Ishtiyaq has in it a sense of effort, as its form indicates, like al-Iktisab, earning, and its like." And a group said, "Al-Ishtiyaq is stronger because of its greater number of letters, for whenever the meaning is stronger and greater, they increase its letters." And a third group judged between the two opinions and said, "Al-Ishtiyaq is for one who is absent, whereas al-Shawq can be for one who is present and one who is absent." What is correct is to say al-Shawq is the verbal noun of shaqahu, yashukuhu, when it calls him to yearn for it. So al-Shawq is the impetus for yearning and its beginning, and al-Ishtiyaq is its effect and its end. For it is said, "Shaqane fashtaktu," it made me yearn, so I yearned. So al-Ishtiyaq is the verb that is responsive to shaqani. The masters of yearning have differed. Does yearning cease with union, or does it increase? A group said, it ceases, for yearning is the journeying of the heart to the beloved. So when it reaches him, the journey ends. She cast down her staff and the journeying found its rest, just as the traveller's eye finds rest upon his return. They said, and because yearning is only for one who is absent, so it has no meaning with one who is present. For this reason it is only said of one who is absent, I yearn for you. As for one who is ever present with the lover, he is not described as being yearned for. And a group said, nay, it increases with nearness and meeting. And they used as evidence the saying of the poet, and the greatest that yearning can be on a day is when the tents draw near to the tents. They said, and because yearning is the burning of love and the blazing of its fire in the heart of the lover, and that is what nearness and union increase. The correct view is that the yearning that occurs at the time of meeting and union is of a different kind than that which existed during the absence from the beloved. Ibn al-Rumi said, I embrace her, and the soul is still yearning for her. And is there any nearness after the embrace? And I kiss her mouth that my ardour may cease. But what I feel of delirious love only intensifies. The measure of my burning grief was not such that what the two lips sip could cure it. It is as if my heart's thirst cannot be quenched, except by seeing the two souls intermingling. As for al-Kilaba, deceitful love, it is a deluding love. It is the love that has reached the khilb, which is the membrane between the heart and the blackness of the belly. Love was called Kilaba because it deceives the minds of its masters. Al-Kilaba is deception with the tongue. It is said, Khalabahu yakhlubuhu, with a Dhamma, and Ikhtalabahu is the same. And in the proverb, if you cannot overcome, then deceive. That is, then delude. And Al-Khaliba is the deceitful one among women. The poet said, youth has departed, and the love of the deceitful aunt, and I have recovered, so there is no fickleness in my heart. Ibn al-Sikit said, a man is khalab, meaning a deceiver and a liar. And from this is al-Barq al-Khulab, the false lightning, which has no rain in it, as if it were a deceiver. And from this it is said of one who promises and does not fulfill, you are but false lightning. And al-Khulab is also the cloud that has no rain. And from this is the hadith. When you make a transaction, say, no deception, khilaba. That is, no deceit. And love is the most deserving of being called by this name, for it blinds and deafens and deceives the mind and heart of the lover. As for al-balabil, anxieties, it is the plural of balbala. It is said, the anxieties of love and the anxieties of yearning. It is its whisperings and its cares. In the Sihah it is said, al-balbala and al-balbal are anxiety and the whispering of the chest. As for al-tabari, torments, it is said, the torments of love, the torments of yearning, the torments of burning grief. And love and yearning have tormented him, Barabihi, when he is afflicted by its bar, which is hardship. In the Sihah it is said, I encountered from him Barhan Barehan, meaning hardship and harm. The poet said, by your life I swear by God, is this so that whenever desire calls you, a tormenting torment comes to your eyes? And I encountered from him the daughters of torment, and the sons of torment. And I encountered from him al-Birahin and al-Burahin, with a kasra or a dhamma on the bar, meaning hardships and calamities. As for al-Sadam, with a fatha on the dal, it is the love that is followed by regret and sorrow. In the Sihah it is said, al-Sadam, with a fatha on the dal, is regret and sorrow. And one says Sadima with a kasra, and a man is regretful, Nadim, and grieving, Sadim, and Nadman, Sadman. It is an emphatic repetition, and he has no care nor grief except for that. As for al-Gamarat, overwhelming feelings, It is the plural of Gamra. And al-Gamra is that which overwhelms the heart, be it of love or intoxication or heedlessness. God the Exalted has said, "Destroyed are the conjecturers, who are in an overwhelming flood of confusion, heedless 51:10-11, that is, in a heedlessness that has overwhelmed their hearts." And he, the Exalted, said, "So leave them in their overwhelming confusion for a time," 23:54. And from this is al-Ma al-Gamr, the abundant water that covers whoever enters it. And from this are Gamarat al-Maut, the throes of death, meaning its hardships. And likewise the overwhelming feelings of love, which is what covers the heart of the lover and overwhelms it. And from this is their saying, "A man is Gamr al-Rida, abundant of cloak," a metaphor for generosity, because it overwhelms the faults, meaning it covers them, so no fault appears with generosity. Kuthayir said, "Abundant of cloak, when he smiles, laughing, the necks of wealth are locked for his laughter." And Al-Kutami said, describing Noah's Ark, "To Al-Judi, until it became a rock, and for that overwhelming flood there was a receding," meaning for that water which overwhelmed the earth and all upon it. As for al-Wahal, fright, it is with a fatah on the ha, and its origin is fright and terror. It is said, "Wahila Yahalu," and he is Wahil and Mustawil. Al-Kutami said, describing camels, "And you see, at their departure, a fright in their swiftness, as if a madness of demons were in them." And al-Wahal is one of the names of love because of the terror in it. And from this it is said, ravishing beauty, Jamal Rai. If it is asked, what is the cause of the terror of beauty? And for what reason, when a lover sees his beloved suddenly, is he startled by it, and his colour turns pale, and he is struck dumb? The poet said, "It is naught but that I see her suddenly, and I am struck dumb until I can hardly answer. And many a man sees his beloved and turns pale and trembles." It is said, this is one of those things whose cause is hidden from most lovers, so they do not know its cause. It has been said, its cause is that beauty holds a dominion over hearts, and when it appears, it terrifies hearts with its dominion, just as the king and his like, who hold dominion over bodies, terrify. So the dominion of beauty and love is over the hearts, and the dominion of kings is over the bodies. If the dominion that is over bodies terrifies when it appears, then how much more so the dominion that is greater than it? They said, and also beauty captures the heart, and the heart feels that it is a captive, inevitably, to that form which has appeared to it, so it is startled, just as a man is startled when he feels someone is about to capture him. For this reason, if the one who looks is safe from that, this terror does not occur. The poet said, "The sign of him in whose heart is desire is that when he sees his beloved, he changes." As for al-Shajan, distress, it is one of its names. For al-Shajan is a need, wherever it may be, and the need of a lover for his beloved is the most intense of things. The Raja's poet said, "Verily, I shall reveal to you in what I reveal, I have two distresses, a distress in Najd, and a distress for me in the land of Sind." The plural is Shujun. He said, and the soul, its distresses are many, and it is pluralized as Ashjan. The poet said, "My companions departed and did not feel my longing, and people have their distresses, but I have one distress alone. And Shajanatni al-Hajar Tashjununi Shajnan, when it holds you back." And there is another aspect as well, which is that al-Shajan is sorrow, and its plural is Ashjan. And one says Shajina with a kasra, so he is Shajin. And another Ashjanahu grieved him, and Shajanahu, meaning he saddened him. And in love there are both these matters, As for al-Laij, burning pain, it is an active participle from their saying la ajahu al-darb, the blow pained him, when it hurt him and burned his skin. The Hudhali poet said, a painful striking with tanned leather that burns the skin. And it is said hawan la'ij, a burning desire, for the burning of the heart from love. As for al-iktiyab, depression, it is of the form ifti'al from al-Kaaba, which is a state of wretchedness and brokenness from sorrow. And the man ka'iba yaqabu, kabatan wa ka'batan, like rafatan wa rafatan, and nashatan wa nashatan. So he is Kaib, and a woman is Kaiba, and also Kaaba. The Raja's poet said, or that you be seen depressed, not having put on kohl. And ikta'aba al-rajul is the same, and ashes are mukta'ib al-lawn when they turn toward black, just as the face of a depressed person is. And depression is generated from the obtaining of love and the loss of the beloved. So between them a wretched state arises, which is called depression. As for al-wasab, ailment, it is the pain of love and its sickness. For the origin of al-wasab is illness, and one says, wasiba al-rajul yawsabu, so he is wasib, and God awsabahu made him ill, so he is musab. And al-muwasab, with emphasis, is one who has many pains. In the authentic hadith, no anxiety nor ailment befalls the believer, not even a thorn that pricks him, but that God expiates some of his sins thereby. And a thing wasaba yasibu wusuban when it is constant. You say, wasaba al-rajul al-amr, when he perseveres in it. God the Exalted has said, and for them is a constant punishment, 37:9. And he, the Exalted, said, and to him belongs the religion constantly, 1652, meaning obedience is everlasting. As for al-huzn, sorrow, it has been counted among the names of love, but what is correct is that it is not one of its names, but rather a state that befalls the lover, which is the descent of something disliked upon him. It is the opposite of delight. And since love is not free from the descent of what does not please the heart of the lover, sorrow is one of its necessary accompaniments. And in the authentic hadith, the Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, used to say, O God, I seek refuge in you from anxiety and sorrow, and from inability and laziness, and from cowardice and miserliness, and from the burden of debt, and from being overpowered by men. So he, may God bless him and grant him peace, sought refuge from 8 things, each pair of which are companions. Anxiety and sorrow are companions, for if the descent of something disliked upon the heart is for what has passed, it is sorrow, and if it is for what is to come, it is anxiety. Inability and laziness are companions, for if the servant's falling short of his perfection is from a lack of ability, it is inability, and if it is from a lack of will, it is laziness. Cowardice and miserliness are companions, for a man is expected to be of benefit with his wealth or with his body. The coward is of no benefit with his body, and the miser is of no benefit with his wealth. The burden of debt and being overpowered by men are companions, for the overpowering of people is of 2 kinds. One is by right, which is the burden of debt, and one is by falsehood, which is being overpowered by men. And God, the Glorious, has negated fear and sorrow from the people of paradise. They do not grieve over what has passed, nor do they fear what is to come. And life is not good except with that, and love necessitates fear and sorrow. As for al-Kamad, stifled grief, it is in reality one of the effects of love, and not one of its names. But those who speak on this subject do not distinguish between the name of a thing, its necessary accompaniment, and its effect. Al-Kamad is hidden sorrow. You say of him, Kamida al-Rajul, so he is Kamid and Kamid. And Al-Kumda is a change of colour, and the fuller Ahmad al-Thawb when he does not clean it properly. As for al-Lad, stinging pain, it is also one of the effects of love. Its origin is from the sting of fire. It is said, Lada'athu al-nar lad'an, the fire stung him, it burned him. Then they likened the sting of the tongue to the sting of fire, and said, Lada'ahu bilisanihi, he stung him with his tongue, meaning he burned him with his words. It is said, I seek refuge in God from its stings. As for al-Huraq, burning sensations, they are also among the accidents and effects of love. A burning sensation can be from love, and from this is their saying, you have no burning passion for this matter, and it can be from rage. And from this is in the hadith, I left them burning with rage against you. As for al-Suht, sleeplessness, it is also one of the effects of love and its necessary accompaniments. Al-Suhad is sleeplessness, and one says Sahida al-Rajul with a kasra, yashadu sahadan, and al-Suhud with dammas on the sin and ha is one who sleeps little. Abu Kabir al-Hudali said, so she brought him forth, lean of flank, thinly clad, sleepless, when the night of the indolent is asleep. And I, sahatuhu, kept him awake, so he is musahad. As for al-Araq, insomnia, it is also one of the effects of love and its necessary accompaniments, for it is wakefulness. And one says ariktu with a kasra, meaning I was wakeful. And likewise I taraktu on the form ifta'altu, so I am arik. And such arakani tarikan, meaning it kept me awake. As for al-lahaf, regret, it is also one of its effects and consequences. It is said lahifa with a kasra, yalhafu lahafan, meaning he grieved and lamented, and likewise al-talahuf over a thing. And their saying yalafa fulan is a word of lament over what has been lost, and al-lahfan is the one who laments, and al-lahif is the one in distress. As for al-hanin, nostalgia, in the Sihah it is said al-hanin is yearning and the soul's longing. You say of it, Hana ilayhi yahinnu haninan, so he is Han, and al-Hanan is mercy. You say of it, Hana alayhi yahinnu hananan, and from this is his saying, the exalted, and tenderness from us, 1913. And tahanana alayhi is to have mercy on him. And the Arabs say, Hanannaka, ya Rab, and Hanannaik, with the same meaning, that is, your mercy. Imru al-Qais said, and the sons of Shamaji ibn Jam grant her, their she-goats, your mercy, O possessor of mercy. And Tarafa said, O Abu Mundir, you have annihilated us, so spare some of us. Your mercy. Some evil is easier to bear than other evil. In reality, al-Hanin is one of the effects and consequences of love, and the nostalgic cry of the she-camel is its sound as it longs for its young. And a man's Hannah is his wife. He said, and on a night of deep darkness I journeyed, and neither wife nor house hindered me. I say she was called Hannah because a man yearns, yahinu, for her wherever he may be. As for al-istikana, submissiveness, it is also one of the necessary accompaniments and effects of love, not one of its specific names. Its origin is submission. God the Exalted has said, so they did not submit to their Lord, nor did they supplicate, 23-76. And he, the Exalted, said, so they did not weaken for what afflicted them in the cause of God, nor did they weaken, nor did they submit, 3.46. Its origin is istaf'ala from kaun, to be. This derivation and conjugation matches the word. As for the meaning, the submissive one is tranquil and humble, the opposite of rash. But tranquility does not match the conjugation of the word, for if it were ifta'ala, it should have been said istakana, because ifta'ala is not in their speech. The truth is that it is istaf'ala from kaun. They transferred the vowel of the war to the kaf before it, so the original war became vowelled, and what came before it was notionally opened, so it was changed into an alif, like istakama. And submission is a state in which there is repentance, humility, and submission. And this is praised if it is for God, and blamed if it is for other than Him. And from this is the hadith. I seek refuge in you from regression after progress, al-hawr ba'd al-kawn, that is, from turning back from steadfastness after I was upon it. As for al-tabala, ruin, it is of the form fa'ala from tabalahu, when it destroys him. Al-Jawhari said, tabalahum al-dar wa atbalahum, time destroyed them, when it annihilated them. Al-Ashar said, is it because she saw a blind man, afflicted by the vicissitudes of time and a ruining, deranging age, meaning one that takes away family and children? And a love tabalahu an atbalahu, meaning it sickened him and corrupted him. I say, and from this is the saying of Ka'b ibn Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma, Su'ad has departed, so my heart today is ruined, enslaved by her, unransomed, shackled. As for al-lawa, anguish, in the Siha it is said, law at al-hub is its burning, and love la'ahu yalu'uhu, and his heart ilta'a, meaning it burned with yearning. And from this is their saying, a wild shi'as is la'at al-fuad, anguished of heart for its foal. Al-Azma'i said, meaning la'iyat al-fuad, which is one that is as if bereaved from fright. As for al-futun, obsession, it is the verbal noun of fatanahu yaftinuhu futunan. God the Exalted has said, and we tried you with a great trial 2040, meaning we tested you and examined you. And al-fitna is used for three meanings. The first, trial and testing. From this is his saying, the Exalted, it is not but your trial, 7 or 155, meaning your test and your examination. The second, the being tried itself. It is said, this is the fitna of so-and-so, meaning his being tried. And from this is his saying, the Exalted. And beware of a trial that will not strike those who have wronged among you, exclusively 825. It is said, the trial afflicted him, and the world tried him, and the woman tried him, fatanathu and aftanathu. Al-Ashar said, if she has tried me, she had indeed before tried Sa'id, so he came to detest every Muslim. Al-Asma'i rejected aftanathu. The third, the object of the trial itself, is called a trial, fitna. God the Exalted has said, your wealth and your children are but a trial, 64:15. As for his saying, the Exalted, then their trial will not be but that they say, by God our Lord, we were not those who associated others with him. 6:23, meaning the outcome of their polytheism was nothing but that they disowned it and denied it. And as for his saying, the Exalted, the day they are tried over the fire, taste your trial. 51, or 13-14, it has been said, the meaning is, they are burned. And from this is fatantu al-dhahab, I tested the gold, when you put it in the fire to see its quality. And a dinar is maftun. Al-Khalil said, al-fatan is burning. God the Exalted has said, the day they are tried over the fire. 51-13. And silver is fatin, meaning burned silver. And a man, iftatana and futina, when a trial befalls him, and he loses his wealth and his mind. And a woman fatanathu, when she bewilders him. And his saying, the Exalted, so indeed you and what you worship, you are not over him tempters, except for he who is to burn in hellfire. 37, 161, 163. Meaning, you cannot tempt anyone away from worshipping him, except one for whom it has been foreordained in God's knowledge that he will burn in hellfire. That is the one who is tempted by your tempting of him. As for his saying, the Exalted, so you will see, and they will see, which of you is the afflicted, 68, 5-6. It has been said, the BA is extra. and it has been said al-maftun is a verbal noun, like al-ma'kul, al-maysur, al-mahluf, and al-mahsur. But what is correct is that yubsirun is given the meaning of yashurun and yalamun. They feel, they know. God the Exalted has said, "Have they not seen that God, who created the heavens and the earth and was not weary with their creation, is able to give life to the dead?" 46:33. He made the verb of seeing transitive with a bar, and in the hadith, the believer is the brother of the believer. They are encompassed by the same water and trees, and they aid one another against the tempter. Al-Fattan. It is related with a fata on the fr, which is singular, and with a dhamma, which is the plural of fatin, like tajir and tujjar. The point is that love is the place of trial, for no one is tried except by love. As for al-junun, madness, some love can be a form of madness. From this is his saying, she said, "You have gone mad with the one you love." I said to her, "Passionate love is greater than what is found in the mad. The one in passionate love does not recover, ever, while the mad one is only seized by fits from time to time. And the origin of the root is from veiling, in all its conjugations. From this is ajanahu al-layl and jana alayhi, the night veiled him. And from this is al-janin, the embryo, for its being veiled in its mother's womb. And from this is al-jannah, the garden, for its being veiled by trees. And from this is al-mijan, the shield, for the one striking and the one being struck being veiled by it. And from this are al-jinn, for their being veiled from sight, unlike al-ins, mankind, for they are seen, yunasun. And from this is al-junnah with a dhamma, which is what you use to veil yourself and protect yourself. And from this is his saying, the Exalted. They have taken their oaths as a shield, 58:16. And ajnantu al-mayita, I concealed the dead one, in the grave, so he is janin. And excessive love veils the intellect, so the lover does not comprehend what benefits him and what harms him. So it is a branch of madness. And as for al-lamam, it is a touch of madness, and a man is said to be malmum, that is, afflicted by lamam. One might also say, a touch, lama, from the jinn hath befallen so-and-so, which is a form of possession, al-mas, or a slight thing, as al-Jawhar hath stated. I say, and the root of the word is from drawing near, and from this is his utterance, he is exalted. Those who avoid the great sins and shameful deeds, save for minor slips, al-lamam, an-najm, 32, which are the lesser sins. Ibn Abbas, may God be pleased with them both, said, I have seen naught more resembling al-lamam than that which Abu Hurairah related. Verily, the eye committeth adultery, and its adultery is the gaze, and the hand committeth adultery, and its adultery is the grasp, and the foot committeth adultery, and its adultery is the stride, and the mouth committeth adultery, and its adultery is the kiss. And from this is the saying, Alamma bikada, meaning he drew near to it and approached it. And a youth is called mulim when he approacheth puberty. And in the Hadath, verily among that which the spring bringeth forth is that which killeth from bloating, or cometh close to it, yulim. In some it is not manifest that al-lamam be counted among the names of love, though a number of scholars have mentioned it, unless it be said that the beloved hath touched upon, alama, the heart of the lover, that is, hath descended upon it. And from this is the saying, al-mimbina, meaning descend upon us. And from it is the poet's verse, whene'er thou comest to us, thou dost descend upon us in our abodes. Thou findest abundant firewood, and a fire brightly kindled. And as for al-Kabul, it is one of the effects and consequences of passionate love, not one of its names, even if it hath been mentioned as such. For its origin is corruption, and its plural is khubul, and al-kabul, with the vowel moved, is madness. It is said he is afflicted by cabal, that is, by some being from the denizens of the earth. And it is said kabalahu, and ikhtabalahu, when it hath corrupted his mind or a limb of his body. And a man is said to be mukabbal, which is a form of madness and corruption. And as for our rasas, it is found often in their speech, the lingering trace, rasas, of passion and longing, and the lingering trace of love. Thus he who included it among the names of love supposed it to be one of them, yet it is not so. Rather, our rasas is that which is constant, and so the rasas of love is its constancy and permanence. It is also possible that it is taken from the onset of a fever, ras al-humma, and its lingering trace, ras siha, which is its first touch. And so they likened the lingering trace of love, with its heat and burning, to the lingering trace of a fever. 18. It would have been more incumbent upon them to have made al-uwa the burning one of the names of love, since it is oft appended to it. The poet said, "When I find the burning of love within my liver, I turn towards the people's water-skin to cool myself. Grant that I have cooled my outward self with the coolness of water. But who is there for a fire that blazeth upon my inwards?" And the appending of our rasurs to passion hath occurred in the poetry of Du ar-Rumah, where he saith, "When separation changeth the lovers, scarcely did the lingering trace of passion, rasas al-hawa, for Maya's love depart." And in this verse there is a grammatical difficulty, though this is not the place to discuss it. And as for Adda al-Mukhamir, the intermingling malady, it is one of love's descriptions, and it is named intermingling for its mixing with the heart and the spirit. It is said khamarahu, al-Jawhar said, and al-Mukhamara is intermingling, and khamara ar-rajulu al-makan, when he hath cleaved to a place. It may also be taken from their saying istakhmara fulanun fulanan, when he hath enslaved another. It is as if passionate love were a malady that enslaveth the lover. And from this is the tradition of Mu'ad. Whosoever hath enslaved istakhmara, a people, that is, hath taken them by force and ruled over them. Thus love is an intermingling, enslaving malady. And as for al-wud, it is the purest form of love, the most subtle and delicate. It is to love as compassion. Ar-Rafa is to mercy, Ar-Rahma. Al-Jawhar said, "Wadidtu ar-rajula awaduhu wudan," when you have loved him. And al-wid, al-wad, and al-wud all mean affection, al-mawada. You might say, biwud an yakuna kada. It would be my wish that it be so. As for the poet's verse, "O thou visitor who asketh after us, while in thy wish, biwidka, it is that thou see my burial shrouds," he hath but elongated the kasra of the letter, dal, to straighten the metre of his verse, and so it became a ya. The word al-wid also means al-wadad, the beloved, and its plural is awud, like kid and akduch, or deb and adhub. And two people are said to be yatawaddan, mutually affectionate, and a group of them are awida. And al-wadud is the loving one, and a group of men are widada, in which masculine and feminine are equal. For it is a descriptive that enters upon another descriptive for the sake of emphasis. I say, al-wadud is one of the attributes of God, glorified and exalted is he. Its origin is from al-mawadda affection, and concerning it there are two divergent sayings. It is said, he is wadud in the sense of wad loving, like darub meaning darib striking, and qatul meaning 18b qatil killing, and naum meaning naim sleeping. This saying is attested by the fact that the form faul in the attributes of God, glorified is He, hath the meaning of the active participle, such as Ghafur meaning Ghafir forgiving, and Shakur meaning Shakir thankful, and Sabur meaning Sabir patient. And it is said, nay, but it is in the sense of Mawdud, which is the beloved. And thus did al-Bukhari explain it in his Sahih, saying, Al-Wadud, the beloved. The first interpretation is more manifest due to its pairing with Al-Ghafur in his saying, and He is the forgiving, the loving, Al-Wadud, Al-Buruj 14, and with Ar-Raham in his saying, Verily, my Lord is merciful, loving, Wadud, Hud 90. And in this is a subtle secret, which is that He loveth His servant after the forgiveness, so He forgiveth him, and then loveth him, as He hath said, Verily, God loveth those who turn back to Him in repentance. Al-Baqarah 2:2. Thus the penitent one is the beloved of God. Therefore, Al-Wud is the purest and most subtle form of love. And as for Al-Khula, it is the unification of love. Thus, Al-Khalil, the intimate friend, is he who maketh his love singular for his beloved. It is a station that accepteth no partnership, and for this reason it was reserved in all the world for the two intimate friends, Abraham and Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of God be upon them both. As God, the Exalted, hath said, and God took Abraham as an intimate friend. Khalil, An-Nisa, 125. And it is authentically reported from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that he said, Verily, God hath taken me as an intimate friend, Khalil, just as he took Abraham as an intimate friend. And in the Sahih it is also reported from him, peace and blessings be upon him. If I were to take an intimate friend from the people of the earth, I would have taken Abu Bakr as an intimate friend. But your companion is the intimate friend of the Most Merciful. And in the Sahih also, Verily, I absolve myself before every intimate friend of his intimate friendship. And since Al-Khula is a station that accepteth no partnership, God, glorified is He, tested Abraham, the intimate friend, with the sacrifice of his son, when the son had taken a branch of his heart. He, glorified is He, willed to purify that branch for himself, that it might not be for any other. So He tested him with the sacrifice of his son, and what was intended was the sacrifice of him from his heart, not the sacrifice of him with the knife. So when they both submitted to the command of God, and He put the love of God, the Exalted, before the love of His Son, the station of Al-Khula was purified, and the Son was ransomed with the sacrifice. And it is said, it was named Khulla, because the love permeates, takhalul, all the parts of the spirit. The poet said, Thou hast permeated the very pathway of my spirit, and for this was the intimate friend, Al-Khal, so named. And Al-Khulla also means the intimate friend. And in this, the masculine and feminine are equal, for it is in origin a verbal noun from your saying, 19 akhallun bayinu al-khullati wal-khulula. The poet said, O convey ye to my intimate friend, Khulat, Jabir, that thy intimate friend hath not been slain, and it is pluralized as Kilal, like Kula and Kilal. And Al-Khil is affection and friendship. And Al-Khilal is also a verbal noun, meaning Al-Mukhala, mutual friendship, and from this is his utterance, the Exalted, wherein there will be no bartering and no friendship, Khilal, Ibrahim 31. And in the other verse he said, wherein there will be no bartering and no intimate friendship, Khulla, Al-Baqarah. To Sitara says, He found a Yibkius to the Fraber, Fanan Funnerfrel. And Imru al-Qais said, Nor am I one whose friendship is detested, nor one who detests. And al-khalul is the friend, and the feminine is khalala, and al-khilala, al-khalala, and al-khulala, with a kasra, fatha, or dama on the kha, all mean friendship and affection. The poet said, "And how canst thou maintain ties with one whose friendship, khilalatuhu, hath become like that of Abu Marhab?" And some of those who have no knowledge have supposed that the beloved, al-hab, is superior to the intimate friend, al-khalil, saying Muhammad is the beloved of God, and Abraham is the intimate friend of God. This is false for many reasons. Among them, that al-khula is specific, while love, al-mahabba, is general. For verily, God loves those who repent, and he loves those who purify themselves, and he said of his believing servants, He loveth them, and they love him. Al-Ma'idah 54. Among them, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, denied that he had an intimate friend from the people of the earth. Yet he informed us that the most beloved of women to him was Aisha, and of men her father. Among them that he said, Verily God hath taken me as an intimate friend, just as he took Abraham as an intimate friend. Among them that he said, If I were to take an intimate friend from the people of the earth, I would have taken Abu Bakr as an intimate friend. But instead there is the brotherhood and affection of Islam. And as for al-khilm, it is derived from al-mukhalama, which is friendship and affection. Al-khilm is the friend, and al-akhlam are the companions. Al-Kumayt said, When its companions, akhlamuha, hastily engage in war, revealed, and the stallions are roused. And as for al-garam, it is the clinging love. It is said, a man is mugram with love, that is, love hath become binding upon him. And the root of the word is from adherence. From this is their saying, a man is mugram, from being in debt. It is said in the Sihah, and al-garam is 19b, infatuation. It is said, ugrima bishay, that is, he became infatuated with it. And al-garam is he who owes a debt. It is said, take from the ill-fated debtor what you can, and al-garam can also be he to whom the debt is owed. Kuthaya said, every man with a debt hath paid, and his creditor is satisfied, but Azaz's creditor is long-suffering tormented. And from this same root is his saying, the exalted, concerning hell. Verily, its torment is an ever-clinging affliction. Garaman, Al-Furqan, 65. And al-garam is a constant clinging evil and a torment. Bishr said, the day of an-Nisa and the day of al-Jifar, they were a torment, and they were a clinging affliction. Garama. And al-Asha said, if he punishes, it becomes a clinging affliction. Garaman. And if he gives abundantly, he is not concerned. And Abu Ubaidah said, verily, its torment is an ever-clinging affliction. Garaman, meaning it was a destruction and a binding doom upon them. And for the subtlety and sweetness of love in their view, they were scarcely wont to apply the term garam to it, even though the later generations have become fond of it. And as for al-Huyam, it is said in the Sihah, Hama ala wajhihi, yahamu hayamanan wa hayman. He wandered aimlessly out of passionate love or something else, and a heart is mustaham, that is, wandering. And al-Huyam, with a dhamma, is the most intense thirst. And al-Huyam is like madness from passionate love. And al-Huyam is a disease that afflicts camels, causing them to wander aimlessly in the land, not grazing. It is said a she-camel is Hema. He said an al-Hiyam with a kasra means thirsty camels, the singular being Haman, and a she-camel Hema, like Atshan and Atsha. And a people are Hum, that is, thirsty, and they are afflicted with Huyam. And his saying, the exalted, drinking as the thirsty camels, al-Ham, drink al-Waqiyah 55, refers to thirsty camels. I say, the plural of Ahyam is Hashyam, like Ahmar and Humr, and it is also the plural of Fa'ala, like Safra and Sufra. And as for At-Tadli, it is said in the Sihah. At-Tadli is the loss of one's mind from passion. It is said, Dalahahu al-Hubb, that is, it bewildered and stupefied him, and he himself is Dalahayadlahu. Abu Zayd said, Ad-Dalu is a she-camel that will scarcely come to her mate or her young. And it is said, Dalahat an ilfiha wa an waladiha tadlahu duluhan. And as for Al-Wala 20a, it is said in the Sihah, Al-Wala is the loss of the mind and bewilderment from intense grief. A man is walih, and a woman is walih, or waliha. Al-Asha said, So she came forth, distracted, walihan, bereaved, in haste. All had befallen her, and all had gathered against her. And it is said, Waliha yawlahu walahan wa walahanan, and tawallaha and atalaha, which is of the form ifta'ala, with assimilation. The poet said, And the jealous one was distracted, atalaha al-Gayur. And at-tawla is to separate a mother from her child. And in the hadith, Let no mother be made distracted, tuwalla, by her child. That is, let her not be made a waliha. And this refers to captives of war. And a she-camel is walih when her grief for her young is severe. And al-Mala is one whose custom it is for her grief over her young to be severe. The war became a ya due to the kasra before it. And water is mula or muwalla when it is released into the desert and lost. And the saying of Ruba, By it the ghoul of every distracting land, Mila, stretched forth with us, the swift, lean she-camels. He intended the lands that make a person distracted, to walihu, that is, bewilder him. And as for at-ta'abud, it is the utmost of love with the utmost of humility. It is said, Abadahu al-Hub, that is, love hath subjugated him. And a path is mu'abad, trodden by feet, that is, made submissive. Likewise, the lover hath been subjugated and trodden upon by love. And this station is not befitting for anyone other than God, the mighty and majestic. Nor doth God, glorified is He, forgive anyone who associates partners in this worship of Him, though He forgiveth what is less than that to whomsoever He willeth. Thus the love of servitude, Mahabbat al-Ubudiyyah, is the noblest of all forms of love, and it is the exclusive right of God over His servants. And in the Sahah it is reported from Mu'ad that he said, I was riding with the messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, when he said, O Mu'ad. I said, At thy service and at thy command, O messenger of God. He said, Then he rode on for a while, then said, O Mu'ad. I said, At thy service and at thy command, O messenger of God. Then he rode on for a while and said, O Mu'ad. I said, At thy service and at thy command, O messenger of God. He said, Dost thou know what the right of God is over his servants? I said, God and his messenger know best. He said, His right over them is that they worship him and associate naught with him. Dost thou know what the right of the servants is over God, if they do that he not torment them with the fire? And God, glorified is He, hath mentioned His messenger in the state of servitude, Ubudiyyah, in his most noble stations, the station of challenge, 20b, the station of the night journey, and the station of the call to God. He said in the station of challenge, And if you are in doubt about what we have sent down upon our servant, then produce a chapter like it, Al-Baqarah, just 23. And he said in the station of the night journey, Glory be to him who took his servant for a journey by night from the sacred mosque, Al-Isra 1. And he said in the station of the call, and that when the servant of God stood up, calling upon him, Al-Jinn 19. And when the prophets of firm resolve decline the great intercession on the day of resurrection, the Messiah will say to them, "Go to Muhammad, a servant whom God hath forgiven his past and future sins." He thus attained that station through the perfection of his servitude to God and the perfection of God's forgiveness for him. Thus, the noblest of the servant's attributes is the attribute of servitude, and the most beloved of his names to God is the name of servitude. As is established from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that he said, "The most beloved of names to God are Abdullah and Abdurrahman. The truest of them are Harith and Hammam, and the ugliest of them are Harb and Murrah." And Harith, the ploughman, and Hammam, the resolute, were the truest, because every person must have a resolve, a will, and a determination, from which his ploughing and his action arise. Every person is a ploughman and a resolute one. And the ugliest were Harb war and Murrah bitterness, because of the aversion and revulsion of the intellect from the meanings of these two names, and with God is all success. Third chapter, concerning the relationship of these names to one another. Are they synonymous or distinct? The names that point to a single entity are of two kinds. The first is that which points to it by considering the essence alone. This type is purely synonymous, such as Hintar, Kamach, and Bur, all meaning wheat, and the given name, the patronymic, and the nickname, if it contains neither praise nor blame, but is brought forth merely for identification. The second type is that which points to a single essence by considering its distinct attributes, such as the names of the Lord, may he be exalted, the names of his speech, the names of his prophet, and the names of the last day. This type is synonymous with respect to the essence, but distinct with respect to the attributes. Thus, the Lord, the most merciful, the Almighty, the all-powerful, the King, all point to a single essence by way of multiple attributes. Likewise, the bearer of glad tidings, the warner, the gatherer, the final, the effacer. And likewise, 21a, the day of resurrection, the day of rising, the day of gathering, the day of mutual loss and gain, the day of the imminent, and their like. And likewise, the Qur'an, the criterion, the book, the guidance, and their like. And likewise the names of the sword, for their multiplicity is according to different descriptions and relations, such as al-Muhannad, al-Adab, as-Sarim, and their like. And you have already come to know the distinction of the descriptions in the names of love. And many people have denied the existence of synonymy in language, and it is as if they intended this meaning, that there are no two names for a single entity, save that there is a difference between them in an attribute or a relation or an addition, whether it be known to us or not. And what they have said is correct when considering a single originator of a word. But synonymy may occur by way of two different originators, one of whom names the entity with a name, and the other originator names it with a different name, and both usages become well known within a single tribe. And this is abundant. And from here homonymy also arises. Thus the principle in language is distinction, and it is the majority of the language, and God knoweth best. Fourth chapter, that the upper and the lower worlds were brought into existence only by love and for its sake, and that the movements of the spheres, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the movements of the angels and the animals, and the movement of every moving thing, were brought into being only because of love. This is a noble chapter, among the noblest chapters of the book. And before establishing its point, it is necessary to present a premise, which is that movements are of three kinds: volitional movement, natural movement, and compelled movement. The proof of this classification is that the principle of movement either originates from the moving thing itself or from another. If it is from the moving thing, it is either accompanied by its awareness and knowledge of it or not. If it is accompanied by awareness and knowledge, then it is volitional. If it is not accompanied by awareness and knowledge, then it is natural. And if it is from another, then it is compelled. And if you wish, you may say the moving thing either moves by its own will or not. If it moves by its will, then its movement is 21b volitional. If it moves without its will, then its movement is either towards its centre or not. If it moves towards its centre, its movement is natural. And if it moves away from its centre, its movement is compelled. Once this is established, the volitional movement is subordinate to the will of the moving thing. And the object of will is either desired for its own sake or for the sake of another. And it is necessary that that which is desired for the sake of another must ultimately lead to that which is desired for its own sake, in order to avoid circularity and infinite regress. And the will is either to acquire a benefit and a pleasure, either for the moving thing itself or for another, or to repel a pain and a harm, either from the moving thing itself or from another. And the rational being does not acquire a benefit for another, nor repel a harm from him, save for what he himself gains from that in terms of pleasure and the repulsion of pain. Thus his volitional movement becomes subordinate to his love. Nay, this is the state of every living, moving being. As for natural movement, it is the movement of a thing towards its place of rest and its centre, and that is subordinate to the movement which caused it to depart from its centre, which is the compelled movement, which only occurs by the coercion of a coercer that hath driven it from its centre, either by the choice of that coercer, such as the movement of a stone downwards when it is thrown upwards, or without the choice of its mover, such as the movement of the winds moving objects in the direction of their blowing. And this movement is subordinate to the coercer, and the movement of the coercer is not from itself, but its principle is from another. For the angels are entrusted with the upper and the lower worlds, governing them by the command of God, mighty and majestic, as he, the Exalted, hath said, and by those who arrange the affair, An-Nazi'at 5, and he hath said, and by those who distribute the command, Ad-Dhariyat 4, and he, the Exalted, hath said, by those sent forth in succession, 1, and the winds that blow violently, 2, and by those who spread far and wide, 3, and by those who distinguish, 4, and by those who cast the remembrance, Al-Mursalat, so 1-5. And he hath said, by those who extract with violence, 1, and by those who draw out gently, 2, and by those who glide swimmingly, 3, and by those who outstrip with a race, 4, and by those who arrange the affair, An-Nazi'at 1-5. And God, glorified is he, hath entrusted the celestial spheres, the sun and the moon, to angels who move them. And he hath entrusted the winds to angels who direct them by his command, and they are its keepers. He, the Exalted, said 20c2a, and as for Ad, they were destroyed by a furious raging wind, Al-Haqqa 6. More than one of the Salaf said it raged against its keepers, so they were unable to control it. This was mentioned by Al-Bukhari in his Sahih. And he hath entrusted the rain to angels, and the clouds to angels, who drive them to where they are commanded. And it hath been established in the Sahih from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that he said, while a man was in a desolate part of the land, he heard a voice in a cloud saying, water the garden of so-and-so. So he followed the cloud until it reached a garden, and poured its water therein. He looked and saw a man in the garden directing the water with his spade. He said to him, what is thy name, O servant of God? He said, so-and-so. the name he had heard in the cloud. He then said, "Verily, I heard a speaker in that cloud say, 'Water the garden of so-and-so.' What dost thou do in this garden?" He replied, "Verily, I look at what it produceth, and I divide it into 3/3. 1/3 I give in charity, 1/3 I spend upon my family, and 1/3 I return to it. And God, glorified is he, hath entrusted the mountains to angels. And it is established from the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that the angel of the mountains came to him, greeted him, and sought his permission to destroy his people if he so wished. But he said, Nay, I shall have patience with them, for perhaps God will bring forth from their loins those who will worship God, associating naught with him. And he hath entrusted to the womb an angel who saith, O Lord, a drop of fluid, O Lord, a clinging clot, O Lord, a lump of flesh, O Lord, male or female? And what of his provision? And what of his life term? And is he wretched or blessed? And he hath entrusted to every servant 4 angels in this world, 2 guardians on his right and on his left, who write his deeds, and others who succeed one another, before him and behind him, at least 2 who protect him from the command of God. And he hath entrusted death to angels, and he hath entrusted the questioning of the dead in their graves to angels. And he hath entrusted mercy to angels, and torment to angels. And he hath entrusted the believer to angels who make him firm and incite him towards acts of obedience. And he hath entrusted the fire to angels who build it and kindle it, and fashion 22 be its fetters and its chains, and carry out its affair. And he hath entrusted the garden to angels who build it, and furnish it, and fashion its couches, and its thrones, and its platters, and its cushions, and its rich carpets. Thus the affair of the upper and lower worlds, and of the garden and the fire, is by the governance of the angels, by the leave and command of their Lord. Blessed and exalted is he. They cannot precede him in speech, and they act upon his command, Al-Anbiya 27. And they do not disobey God in what he commands them, but they do what they are commanded, At-Tahrim 6. So he hath informed us that they do not disobey his command, and that they are capable of executing his commands, possessing no inability to do so, unlike one who abandons what he is commanded out of inability. For he doth not disobey God in what he hath commanded, even if he doth not do what he is commanded. Likewise, the seas have been entrusted to angels who cause them to swell, and prevent them from overflowing upon the earth and drowning its people. And likewise, the deeds of the children of Adam, both good and evil, have been entrusted to angels who record them and preserve them and write them down. For this reason, faith in the angels is one of the pillars of faith, without which it is not complete. They are 5: faith in God, his angels, his books, his messengers, and the last day. When this is known, it is known that every movement in the world is caused by the angels, and their movement is obedience to God by his command and his will. Thus, the entire affair returns to the execution of the will of the Lord, may he be exalted, in both divine law and in destiny. And the angels are the ones who execute that by his command. For that reason they are called Malaika, from al-Aluka, which is the message, for they are the messengers of God in executing his commands. The point is that the movements of the celestial spheres and what they contain are subordinate to the volitional movement which necessitates love. Thus, love and will are the origin and fount of every action. An action cannot be saved from love and will, even the repulsion of matters which one detests and dislikes, for one only repels them by one's will and one's love for their opposites, and for the pleasure one finds in their repulsion, as it is said, "He has healed his rage, and healed his breast," and healing and well-being come from that which is beloved, even if it be disliked, such as drinking medicine which repels the pain of sickness. For even if 23a it is disliked from one aspect, it is beloved for what it contains of the removal of the disliked and the attainment of the beloved. Likewise is the doing of things that oppose one's inclination, for though they be disliked, they are only done out of love and will. And even if they are not loved for their own sake, they are a necessary means to what is loved for its own sake. Thus, a living being does not abandon what he loves and desires except for something he loves and desires more. But he abandons the weaker of the two in love for the stronger of the two in love. And for that reason, love and will are the origin of aversion and dislike, for the disliked and detested is that which opposes the existence of the beloved. And an action either pertains to the existence of the beloved or the repulsion of the disliked, which necessitates the existence of the beloved. Thus all action returns to the existence of the beloved, and voluntary movement hath its origin in will, while compelled and natural movements are subordinate to it. Thus the matter returns to volitional movement. So all the movements of the upper and lower worlds are subordinate to will and love. By them the world was moved, and for their sake. Thus they are the effective and final cause. Nay, it is by them and for their sake that the world was brought into existence. For no movement stirs in the upper or lower world, save that love is its cause and its end. Nay, the reality of love is the movement of the lover's soul towards his beloved. Thus, love is movement without stillness, and the perfection of love is servitude, humility, submission, and obedience to the beloved. And this is the truth, al-Haq, by which and for which the heavens and the earth, this world and the hereafter, were created. He, the Exalted, said, "And we did not create the heavens and the earth, and what is between them, except in truth." Al-Hijr 85. And he said, "And we did not create the heaven and the earth, and what is between them, in vain." Sad 27. And he said, "Did you then think that we had created you in jest?" Al-Mu'minun 115. And the truth by which and for which creation was created is the worship of God alone, which is the perfection of loving him and submitting and humbling oneself to him, and the requisites of servitude to him, such as command and prohibition, reward and punishment. And for this sake he sent the messengers and sent down the books and created the garden and the fire. And the heavens and the earth are established only by justice, which is the path of God upon which he is, and it is the most 23b beloved of things to him. He, the Exalted, said, recounting the words of his prophet Shu'aib, "Peace be upon him. Verily, I have put my trust in God, my Lord, and your Lord. There is no creature but he holds it by its forelock. Verily, my Lord is on a straight path." Hud 56. Thus he is upon a straight path in his law and his decree, which is the justice by which creation and command, reward and punishment have appeared, and it is the truth by which and for which the heavens and the earth and what is between them were created. For this reason the believers say in their supplication, "Our Lord, you have not created this in vain. Glory be to you." Al-Imran 191. So they declared their Lord, glorified is he, to be far above having created the heavens and the earth in jest, without a wise purpose and a praiseworthy end. And he, glorified is he, is praised for these praiseworthy ends, just as he is praised for his essence and his attributes. Thus, the praiseworthy ends in his actions are the wisdom which he loves and is pleased with. And he created what he dislikes, because it is a necessary means to what he loves, and because that which is beloved to him results from it. And likewise he, glorified is he, refrains from doing some of what he loves, because of what would result from it, of the loss of something more beloved to him, or the occurrence of something more disliked to him than that beloved thing. This is as when he disheartens the hearts of his enemies from believing in him and obeying him, because he dislikes their acts of obedience, and by them he would forfeit what is more beloved to him than them, such as their being fought in jihad, and what results from it of allegiance for his sake, and enmity for his sake, and the sacrificing of their souls by his devoted friends, and their preferring of his love and his good pleasure over their own souls. And for this reason he created death and life, and made what is on the earth an adornment for it. He, the Exalted, said, He who created death and life, to test you as to which of you is best indeed. Al-Mulk 2. And he said, Verily, we have made what is on earth as an adornment for it, in order to test them as to which of them is best indeed. Al-Kahf 7. And he, the Exalted, said, And it is he who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and his throne was upon the water, that he might test you as to which of you is best indeed. Hud 7. So he, glorified is he, informed us concerning the creation of the world, and of death and life, and the adorning of the earth with what is upon it, that it is for trial and testing, to examine his creation as to which of them is best indeed, so that his deed may be in accordance with the things beloved of the Lord. May he be exalted. Thus he would be in accord with the end for which he was created, and for which the world was created, which is servitude to him, which entails loving him and obeying him. And this is the best of deeds, and it is what follows from his love and his good pleasure. And he, glorified is he, 2024a, decreed measures that oppose it out of his wisdom in decreeing them. And he tested his creation between his command and his decree, to try them as to which of them is best indeed. And so creation was divided in this trial into 2 parties. A party that revolved with his commands and his beloved things, and stopped where the command stopped them, and moved where the command moved them. They employed the command within the decree, and they rowed the ship of the command in the sea of the decree. They made the command the judge over the decree, and they contended with the decree by means of the decree in compliance with his command and in pursuit of his good pleasure. And these are the ones who are saved. And the second party set the command and the decree in opposition to one another, and what he loves and is pleased with, against what he has decreed and ordained. Then they divided into 4 sects. A sect that denied the decree in order to preserve the command. But they nullified the command by the very means by which they sought to preserve the decree, for faith in the decree is the foundation of faith in the command, and it is the ordering principle of monotheism. So he who denies the decree, his denial demolishes his faith. A sect that rejected the command by means of the decree. These are among the most blasphemous of creation. They are those whose saying God recounted in the Qur'an, when they said, If God had willed, we would not have associated partners with him, nor would our fathers, nor would we have forbidden anything. Al-An'am 148. And they also said, If God had willed, we would not have worshipped anything besides him, neither we nor our fathers, nor would we have forbidden anything besides him. An-Nahl 35. And they also said, if the Most Merciful had willed, we would not have worshipped them. Az-Zukhruf 20. And they also said, should we feed one whom, if God had willed, he would have fed? Ja, 6. Cephas. And so God, glorified is he, made them by this liars and conjecturers, possessing no knowledge, and he informed us that they are in manifest error, a sect that revolved with the decree. They journeyed with its journeying and alighted with its alighting, and they made it their religion, not caring whether it conformed to the command or opposed it. Rather, their religion is the decree. Thus the lawful is what comes to their hand by decree, and the unlawful is what they are deprived of by decree. They are with whosoever triumphs by decree, be he a Muslim or a disbeliever, righteous or profligate. And the elect among them and their worshippers, when they witnessed the cosmic, decretal reality, they sided with the disbelievers who were given power by the decree, and they became their protectors. These, too, are disbelievers, a sect that stood with the decree while acknowledging that it was contrary to the command. They did not make it their religion, but 24b, they resigned themselves to it and did not judge it by the command, and they were unable to repel the decree with the decree in adherence to the command. These are negligent, and they are between being incapable and being disobedient to God. And all of these sects follow their Sheikh Iblis, for he was the first to place the decree before the command, and to oppose it therewith, saying, My Lord, because you have led me astray, I will surely make sin attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all. Al-Hijr 39. And he said, Then, because you have led me astray, I will surely sit in wait for them on your straight path. Al-A'raf 16. Thus he rejected the command of God with his decree, and argued against his Lord with the decree. And his followers were divided into 4 sects, as you have seen. For Iblis and his soldiers were sent forth by a cosmic sending of the decree. So the decree is their religion. God, the Exalted, said, Have you not seen that we have sent the devils upon the disbelievers, inciting them with incitement? Maryam 83. So their religion is the decree, and their destination is Sakar. Then God sent the messengers with the command, and he commanded them to fight the people of the decree with it. And he ordained for them ships from his command, and commanded them to embark upon them, they and their followers, in the sea of the decree. And he specified salvation for those who embarked upon them, just as he specified salvation for the companions of the ark, and made that a sign for all the worlds. Thus the people of the command are at war with the people of the decree until they bring them back to the command, and the people of the decree fight the people of the command until they drive them out of it. So the religion of the messengers is the command, along with their faith in the decree and their making the command the judge over it. And the religion of Iblis and his followers is the decree and the repulsion of the command by means of it. So contemplate this matter of the decree and the command, and the division of the world therein into these 5 categories. And with God is all success. Thus the movements of the upper and lower worlds and all that is within them are in accordance with the command, either the religious command which God loves and is pleased with, or the cosmic command which he has decreed and ordained. And he, glorified is he, did not decree it in vain, nor ordain it in jest, but rather for the wisdom and praiseworthy ends therein, and for the matters that result from it, the ends of which he loves, even if he dislikes their causes and beginnings. For he, glorified and exalted, is he, loves forgiveness, even if he dislikes the sins of his servants. And he loves concealment, even if he dislikes that which he conceals for his servant. 25a. And he loves emancipation, even if he dislikes the cause for which one is emancipated from the fire. And he loves pardon, as in the Hadath. O God, you are pardoning, you love to pardon, so pardon me, even if he dislikes the burdens of sin which he pardons. And he loves those who repent and their repentance, even if he dislikes the sins from which they repent to him. And he loves jihad and its people. Nay, they are the most beloved of his creation to him, even if he dislikes the deeds of those whom they fight. And this is a vast gate that has been opened for you, so enter through it. It will lead you to delightful gardens of gnosis, and he who misses it dies of his regret. And with God is all success. And this is a subject about which many volumes would be too narrow. The intelligent person enters it through its gate. And the secret of this gate is that he, glorified is he, is perfect in his names and attributes. To him belongs absolute perfection in every respect, in which there is no deficiency in any way. And he loves his names and attributes, and he loves the manifestation of their effects in his creation, for that is one of the requisites of his perfection. For he, glorified is he, is one, YTR, and loves that which is odd-numbered, al-Witr. He is beautiful and loves beauty. He is all-knowing and loves the learned. He is generous and loves the generous. He is strong, and the strong believer is more beloved to him than the weak believer. He is modest and loves the people of modesty. He is faithful and loves the people of faithfulness. He is appreciative and loves the appreciative. He is truthful and loves the truthful. He is a doer of good and loves the doers of good. So if he loves pardon and forgiveness and forbearance and clemency and concealment, then it is necessary to decree the causes through which the effects of these attributes become manifest, and by which his servants may infer the perfection of his names and attributes. And this will be a greater call for them to love him and to praise him and to glorify him and to laud him with what he is worthy of. Thus the end for which he created creation is achieved, even if it is missed by some of them. For that missing which is disliked by him is a cause for its perfection and manifestation. Thus that dislike missing entails a matter that is more beloved to him than its absence. So contemplate this matter with true contemplation, and this will be revealed on the day of resurrection to all of creation, when he gathers them on a single plane and delivers to every soul what should be delivered to it of good and evil, 25b, and of pleasure and pain, even to the weight of an atom. And he will bring every soul to its end, which it itself will bear witness is most fitting for it. And at that moment the entire cosmos will speak his praise. May he be blessed and exalted in both word and state, as he, glorified and exalted is he, hath said, and you will see the angels surrounding the throne, glorifying the praise of their Lord. And it will be judged between them in truth, and it will be said, Praise be to God, Lord of the worlds. Az-Zumar 75. And he omitted the doer of the saying, because it is not specific. Rather, every single being will praise him for that judgment which he hath judged. So the inhabitants of the heavens and the inhabitants of the earth will praise him, the righteous and the wicked, humans and jinn, even the people of the fire. Al-Hasan or another said, They will have entered the fire, and yet his praise will be in their hearts, and they will find no way against it. And this, and God knows best, is the secret for which the doer was omitted in his saying. It was said, Enter the gates of hell to abide therein eternally. Az-Zumar 72. And his saying, and it was said, Enter the fire with those who enter, at Tarm 10. It is as if the entire cosmos uttered that, and said it to them, and God knows what is right. 5th chapter, on the impulses to love and its attachments. The impulse, Radha, may be intended to mean the feeling which is followed by will and inclination, and that resides within the lover. Or it may be intended to mean the cause for which love came to be, and to which it became attached, and that resides within the beloved. We, however, intend by impulse the sum of both matters, which is that which resides within the beloved of the attributes that call one to love him, and that which resides within the lover of the perception of them, and the affinity that is between the lover and the beloved, which is the bond between them, and which between two created beings is called suitability and congeniality. Thus there are three matters here: the quality and beauty of the beloved, the lover's perception of it, and the suitability, which is the connection and congeniality between the lover and the beloved. So whenever these three are strong and perfected, the love grows strong and becomes firm. And the deficiency and weakness of love is according to the weakness or deficiency of these three. So whenever the beloved is in the utmost of beauty, and the lover's perception of his beauty is the most complete perception, and the suitability between the two spirits is strong, then that is the binding, enduring love. And sometimes, 26a, the beauty may be in itself deficient, but in the eye of the lover it is complete. The strength of his love is then according to that beauty, as he perceives it, for thy love for a thing maketh thee blind and deaf, and so the lover seeth no one more beautiful than his beloved. As it is recounted that Azza came before Al-Hajjaj, and he said to her, O Azza, by God, thou art not as Kuthayya described thee in his poetry. She replied, O Commander, he did not see me with the eye with which thou hast seen me. And there is no doubt that the beloved is sweeter in the eye of his lover, and greater in his heart than any other. And the poet made this clear in his saying, By God, I know not if she was given more charm and beauty than all other women, or if I have no mind. And at other times the beauty may be abundant, but the perception of it is deficient, and so one's love for it weakens on that account. For if its reality were unveiled to him, it would captivate his heart. For this reason, women have been commanded to veil their faces from men, for the revealing of the face unveils the perfection of the beauties, and thus temptation occurs. And for this reason it is prescribed for a suitor to look at the woman he is betrothing, for when he witnesses her charm and her beauty, it is more conducive to the occurrence of love and intimacy between them. As the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, alluded to in his saying, If one of you wishes to betroth a woman, let him look at that which would call him to marry her, for it is more likely to create harmony, udama, between them, that is, to create congeniality, accord, and amity. From this is the word idam, condiment, with which bread is made agreeable. And if all of this is found, but the suitability and connection between them is absent, the love will not become firm, and perchance it will not occur at all, for the harmony between spirits is one of the most powerful causes of love. Every man yearneth for one who is suited to him, and this suitability is of two kinds, one which is original, from the very foundation of creation, and one which is incidental, due to proximity or participation in some affair. For whosoever's aim is suited to your aim, a harmony will occur between your spirit and his. But if the aim differs, the harmony vanishes. As for the original suitability, it is a concord of characters, a likeness of spirits, and the yearning of every soul for its like. For the like of a thing is naturally drawn to it. Thus two spirits may be alike, 26b, in their original creation, and so each is drawn to the other by its nature. And at times, attraction and inclination may occur by a unique property, and this cannot be rationalized, nor can its cause be known, like the attraction of iron to a lodestone. And there is no doubt that the occurrence of such a thing between spirits is greater than its occurrence between inanimate objects, as it was said. Her beauties are the very substance of all beauty, and a lodestone for the hearts of men. And this is what led some people to say that passionate love does not depend on charm and beauty, nor does its absence necessitate the absence of love. Rather, it is a likeness of souls and a commingling of their created dispositions, as it was said. Love cometh not from charm, nor from grace, but it is a thing with which the spirit is smitten. This speaker said, thus its reality is that it is a mirror, wherein the lover beholds his own dispositions and his own tenderness in the form of his beloved. So, in reality, he hath loved naught but himself, his own dispositions, and his own likeness. And one of them said to his beloved, I found in you the essence of my own soul, and its likeness in all its states, so my soul was moved towards you, and was led to you. Verily, I have but desired my own self. And this is true from one perspective, for suitability is the cause of union, both in divine law and in destiny. A proof of this by observation is that the most beloved of foods to an animal is that which is most like the substance of its body, and which hath the greatest suitability to it. And whenever the suitability between the nourishment and the one being nourished is stronger, the soul's inclination towards it is greater. And whenever the suitability is more distant, aversion from it occurs. And there is no doubt that this is something beyond mere charm and beauty. For this reason, the noble, pure, and lofty souls passionately love the attributes of perfection by their very nature. Thus, the most beloved of things to them are knowledge, courage, chastity, generosity, beneficence, patience, and constancy, due to the suitability of these qualities to their essence. This is unlike the base, lowly souls, for they are far removed from the love of these qualities. And many a man is moved to generosity and beneficence by his excessive passionate love and affection for it, and by the pleasure he finds in bestowing it. As Al-Ma'mun said, pardon has been made so beloved to me that I fear I shall not be rewarded for it. 27a. And it was said to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, may God have mercy upon him, did you learn this knowledge for the sake of God? He replied, as for the sake of God, that is a mighty claim. But it was something that was made beloved to me, so I did it. And another said, verily I rejoice in giving, and I find a greater delight in it than the delight of the one who takes what he receives from me. And concerning this, it was said in praise of some of the generous, a thrill seizes him at the moment of noble deeds, like the trembling of a moist branch in a morning breeze. And the poet of the Hamasa said, you see him when you come to him with a cheerful face, as if you are giving him that which you are asking of him. And many of the generous have a passionate love for generosity that is greater than any other, and they cannot bear to be without it, even when they are in need of that which they give away. And they will not accept the reproach of a reproacher concerning it, nor will the blame of a blamer affect them in it. As for the lovers of knowledge, their infatuation and passionate love for it is greater than that of any lover for his beloved. And many of them are not distracted from it by even the most beautiful of human forms. It was said to the wife of Az-Zubair ibn Bakr, or another, Guntashantant kandra do san sangran, and hanchule soto pridi shon do putzel, to Janganda to you, for you have no co-wife. She replied, by God, these books are more of a rival to me than several co-wives. And the brother of our Sheikh, Abdul Rahman ibn Taymiyyah, related to me from his father that he said, "The grandfather, when he would enter the privy, would say to me, 'Read from this book and raise your voice so that I may hear.' And I know of one who was afflicted with an illness of headache and fever, and the book was by his head. Whenever he found some relief, he would read from it, and when he was overcome, he would set it down. The physician entered upon him one day while he was in this state and said, 'This is not permissible for you are aiding the illness against yourself and causing the loss of what you seek.' And our Sheikh related to me, saying, 'An illness began to afflict me, and the physician said to me, "Your reading and your speaking about knowledge will increase the illness." I said to him, "I cannot be patient without it, and I will take you to judgment before your own science. Is it not so that when the soul rejoices and is gladdened, the physical nature is strengthened and repels the illness?" He said, "Yes, indeed." I said to him, "Then my soul is gladdened by knowledge, and my nature is strengthened by it, and I find comfort." He said, "This is outside of our treatment," or something to that effect. Thus, the passionate love for the attributes of perfection is among the most beneficial and sublime forms of love. 27b, and it comes about only through the suitability between the spirit and those attributes. For this reason, the most sublime and noble of spirits has the most sublime and noble of beloveds, as it was said, "Thou art slain by whomever thou lovest, so choose for thyself in passion whom thou wouldst favour." So, if love is based on likeness and suitability, it becomes firm and established, and naught can remove it save an impediment stronger than its cause. But if it is not based on likeness, then it is but a love for a particular purpose, and it will vanish and fade away when that purpose is fulfilled. For he who loves thee for a certain matter will turn away when that matter is concluded. Thus, if the impulse and motive for love is a purpose of the lover, his love will not endure. And if it is a matter in the beloved that is quick to vanish and pass away, his love will vanish with its vanishing. But if it is a quality inherent in him, his love will remain as long as its cause remains, so long as it is not opposed by an opponent that necessitates its removal. And this is either a change of state in the lover or some harm from the beloved, for harm will either weaken the love or remove it. The poet said, "Take my pardon, and thou wilt make my affection endure, and do not speak in my moment of anger when I am wroth. For I have seen that love in the heart and harm, if they come together, the love doth not tarry, but departeth." And on this point the lovers have divided into two factions. One group said, "It is not a true love that is removed by harm. Nay, the sign of true love is that it does not diminish with harshness, nor is it taken away by harm." They said, "Nay, the lover even finds delight in the harm his beloved does to him. As Abu Ashir said, 'Passion hath halted me where thou art, so I have no place to retreat from it, nor to advance. Thou hast scorned me, so I have scorned myself with all my might. He whom thou scornest is not among those I honour. Thou hast come to resemble my enemies, so I have begun to love them, since my lot from thee is the same as my lot from them. I find the blame in my passion for thee to be a delight, out of love for thy mention, so let the blamers blame me." 28a. This, then, is love in its reality, for it contains the utmost of accord, to the point that his will and the will of his beloved for him have become one. So he scorned himself in accord with his beloved's scorning of him, and he loved his enemies when his beloved resembled them in the harm she caused. And though this is something that the natural dispositions reject, it is nevertheless the requisite and dictate of perfect love. Another group said, "Nay, harm removes love, For the natural dispositions are fashioned to dislike one who harms them, just as the hearts are fashioned to love one who is good to them. And what those others have mentioned is but a mere claim on their part. The just position is to say, there can gather in the heart both aversion and dislike for the harm from the beloved, and love for him from another aspect. Thus one loves him and detests the harm he causes. This is what truly occurs, and the stronger of the two will overcome the weaker, and the judgment will remain with it. And the poet has revealed this meaning in his saying, "And if thou wert to say, tread into the fire, and I knew it would be a pleasure to thee, or would bring me closer to thy union, I would have put forth my foot towards it, and trodden upon it, whether as a guidance from thee to me, or a straying from thy straying. And though it grieveth me that thou hast assailed me with an ill turn, it hath gladdened me that I have crossed thy mind. This one has been just, for he has stated that it grieves him that his beloved should assail him with an ill turn, yet it gladdens him that he has crossed his mind. He is not like one who claims that he finds delight in the harm from his beloved, for this is outside the natural dispositions. By God, unless that harm were a means to the beloved's pleasure and proximity, for then he would find delight in it when he considers its end and consequence. This can indeed happen. A certain physician told me, saying, "Verily I find delight in a bitter medicine when I know the healing that will be attained through it. I place it upon my tongue and sip it out of love for it. And from this is the delight of lovers in the hardships that lead them to the union and proximity of their beloved. Whenever they remember the spirit of that union, and that the state they are in is a path leading to it, they find delight in enduring it, and it becomes pleasant for them to bear it, as it was said, She hath tales from thy memory that distract her from drink and make her forget her provisions. In thy face she hath a light by which she is guided, and from thy speech there is a driver at her heels. When she complains of the weariness of the journey, she is promised the spirit of meeting, and so she grows strong at the appointed time. The point is that love requires a likeness and a suitability. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, may God the Exalted have mercy upon him, mentioned in his Musnad from a hadith of Aisha, may God be pleased with her, that a woman used to visit the Quraysh and make them laugh. She then came to Medina and stayed with a woman who made people laugh. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "With whom did so-and-so stay?" They said, "With so-and-so, the jester." He then said, "Spirits are marshalled hosts. Those that recognize one another come together in harmony, and those that are strange to one another are set at variance." And the origin of this hadith is in the Sahih. And it was mentioned to Hippocrates that a man of deficient character loved him. He became grieved at this and said, "He would not have loved me unless I resembled him in some of his characteristics." And Al-Mutanabbi took this meaning, inverted it, and excelled, saying, "And if my dispraise should come to thee from one who is deficient, then that is the testimony for me that I am excellent." And one of the physicians said, "Passionate love is the commingling of one spirit with another, due to the suitability and likeness between them. For when water is commingled with water, it becomes impossible to separate one part from the other. And likewise, love can reach such a point between two persons that one of them feels pain when the other is in pain, and falls ill with his illness, while he is not aware of it. And it is mentioned that a man loved a certain person, and that person fell ill. The lover's companions came to visit him and found him feeling better, so he relaxed with them and said, "From where have you come?" They said, "From visiting so-and-so." He asked, "Was he ill?" They said, "Yes, and he has been cured." He then said, "By God, I did not recognize this illness of mine and knew no cause for it, except that I imagined it was due to an illness that had befallen someone I love, and I have found in this day of mine a sense of relief." Then he rejoiced, hoping that God, glorified and exalted is He, had healed him. Then he called for an inkpot and wrote to his beloved, "Verily I was fevered, and I knew not of thy fever, until my visitors spoke of thy complaint." 29a, I said, "The fever would not have befallen me without some cause, save for thy fever. And in one quality I was never suspected, but God hath cured me of it, when he cured thee, until my soul and thy soul agreed in this and that, and in this and that. And it is recounted that a man's beloved fell ill, so the lover visited him, and fell ill from that moment. His beloved was then cured, and came to visit him, and when he saw him, he was cured from that moment. And he recited, 'The beloved fell ill, so I visited him, and I fell ill from my concern for him. And the beloved came to visit me, and I was cured by the sight of him.' And if you contemplate existence, you will scarcely find two who love each other, save that there is a likeness between them, or an agreement in an action, or a state, or a purpose. So if the purposes, qualities, actions, and ways are at variance, there will be naught but aversion and distance between the hearts. And, sufficient in this regard, is the authentic hadith from the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him. The likeness of the believers in their mutual affection, mercy, and sympathy is like that of a single body. When one of its limbs complains, the rest of the body responds with fever and sleeplessness. If it is said, then what you have mentioned requires that if one person loves another, the other must also love him, so that they share in the love. Yet reality bears witness to the contrary, for how many a lover is unloved, nay, struck with the sword of hatred? It is said people have differed in their answer to this question. As for Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm, he said, "My view is that passionate love is a connection between parts of the souls which were divided in this creation at the very origin of their sublime element, not, as Muhammad ibn Dawood recounted from one of the philosophers, that the spirits are divided spheres, but rather by way of the suitability of their powers in the abode of their upper world, and their proximity in the form of their composition. And we know that the secret of commingling and divergence in created things is but connection and separation. For like always calls to its like, and the similar finds rest in its similar. And for kinship 29b there is a perceptible effect and a visible influence. And aversion is found in opposites, and accord in equals. The conflict among those that are similar exists among us, so how much more so with the soul, whose world is the pure light world, and whose essence is the ascending temperate essence, and whose nature is prepared to accept accord, inclination, yearning, aversion, desire, and repulsion. And God, the Exalted, says, "It is He who created you from a single soul, and created from it its mate, that he might find tranquility in her Al-Araf 189. So he made the cause of tranquility the fact that she is from him. If the cause of love were the beauty of the physical form, it would be necessary that one should not find beautiful a less perfect form. Yet we find many who prefer the inferior, knowing the superiority of another, and find no escape for their heart from it. And if it were for accord in character, a man would not love one who does not assist him nor agree with him. So we know that it is something in the essence of the soul itself. And perhaps love is for a particular cause, and that love will fade with the fading of its cause." He said, "And what confirms this saying is that we know that love is of various kinds. The best of them is the love of those who love each other for the sake of God, either for their striving in good deeds, or for their agreement on a fundamental principle, or for a particular excellence in knowledge that a person is granted. And there is the love of kinship, and the love of familiarity and shared goals, and the love of companionship and acquaintance, and the love for kindness that a person bestows upon his brother, and the love out of a desire for the status of the beloved, and the love of two who love each other for a secret they share, which requires them to conceal it, and the love for attaining pleasure and fulfilling a desire, and the passionate love which has no cause save what we have mentioned of the connection of souls. And all these kinds are subject to ending with the end of their causes, increasing with their increase, and decreasing with their decrease. They are confirmed by their proximity and weakened by their distance, except for the love of true, firm, passionate devotion to the soul. Then he posed this question, saying, "And the answer is that the soul of the one who does not love him who loves him is enveloped on all sides by certain veiling accidents and encompassing screens from the earthly dispositions, so it has not sensed the part that was connected to it before it settled where it is. If it were to be freed, they would be equal in connection and love. And the soul 30A of the lover is freed, aware of the place of that which used to share its proximity, seeking it, aiming for it, searching for it, desiring to meet it, drawing it to itself if it were able, like a magnet and iron, and like fire in a stone." Another group answered that the spirits were created in the form of a sphere, which was then divided. Whichever two spirits met and were near to each other there, they would be in harmony in this world and love each other. And if they were averse to each other there, they would be averse here. And if they were in harmony from one aspect and averse from another, they would be likewise here. This answer is built upon the false principle established by these people that the spirits existed before the bodies, and that they were acquainted and in proximity there, meeting and recognizing one another. This is an error. Nay, the correct view, which is indicated by the divine law and by reason, is that the spirits are created with the bodies, and that the angel entrusted with breathing the spirit into the body breathes the spirit into it when 4 months have passed over the drop of fluid and it has entered the 5th. And that is the first moment of the spirit's existence in it. He who says that they were created before, that has erred, and even more detestable is the saying of him who says they are eternal, or who hesitates in this matter. Nay, the correct answer is to say, love, as has been mentioned, is of two kinds, an incidental, purposeful love. For this kind, mutual participation is not necessary. Nay, it is often accompanied by the beloved's detestation and hatred for the lover, unless the lover has a purpose with him similar to his own purpose. Then he will love him for his purpose with him, as may be the case between a man and a woman, each of whom has a purpose with the other. The second kind is a spiritual love, its cause being the likeness and concord between the two spirits. This kind cannot be but from both sides, and it is a necessity. For if the lover of true love were to search the heart of the beloved, he would find there a love for him similar to his own, or less, or greater. And when the love is from both sides, each of the two lovers finds rest in it, and it soothes some of what ails him, and he considers it a kind of union. A woman of 30B, the Arab, said, "I performed the pilgrimage, yet I did not perform it for any sin I had committed, but that you might grant me justice against the one who hath cut the bond. I went away with my mind in his passion when I was young, and now my age hath advanced, So return my mind to me through him. If not, then make the love equal between me and him, for thou, my Lord, art described with justice. And another said, O Lord, preoccupy her with love for me, as with it thou hast preoccupied my heart, that what aileth me may be lightened. And a woman said, reproaching her husband, I ask the one who hath divided livelihoods among the servants, that he divide the love between me and you. Then she recited, I call upon the one who turned passion from me to you, and from you away from me, that he might try you with what he hath tried me, or draw out the love from me. And another said, O Lord, if thou dost not divide the love between us into two halves, then make me steadfast in her desertion. And grant me solace from her, and return to me my heart from Salma, and I shall reward thee with praise. And Abu al-Hudayl al-Alaf said, It is not possible in the revolution of the spheres, nor in the composition of the natural dispositions, nor in what is necessary, nor in what is possible, that there be a lover whose beloved hath no inclination towards him. And to this school of thought went Abu al-Abbas an-Nashi, as he says, Thy two eyes are witnesses that thou, from the heat of passion, feelest what I feel. What aileth us, aileth thee, but with hidden pain thou dost feign fortitude, while we have no fortitude left. And Abu Uyayna said, She passes the night delirious with my mention, and I with hers. Both of us endure the night, sleepless. She never sleeps, but that she sees me as her companion in bed. Thus do I see her in sleep when I slumber. She admits her sin when I doze off and we meet, but when I ask her, awake, she denies it. We are both equal in passion, except that she feigns fortitude at times, while I have no fortitude. And Urwa ibn Udayna said, She who claimed that thy heart hath grown weary of her was created thy passion, just as thou wert created passion for her. 31a. What she claimed is in thee, and so you both have shown to your companion the entirety of your longing. So when the souls are alike and the spirits commingle and interact, their bodies interact in response, and they seek a likeness of the commingling and proximity that is between the spirits. For the body is the instrument of the spirit and its vessel. And by this God, glorified is he, has composed the desire for sexual union between male and female, in seeking the commingling and intermingling between the two bodies, just as it is between the two spirits. For this reason it is called union and mingling and cohabitation and an unveiling, because each of them unveils himself to his companion, and the space between them vanishes. If it is said, then this would necessitate that love be confirmed and strengthened by sexual union, yet reality is to the contrary, for sexual union extinguishes the fire of love, cools its heat, and soothes the soul of the lover. It is said, people differ in this. Among them are those whose love becomes stronger, more established, and firmer after sexual union than before it. He is like one to whom a pleasing thing was described, and he loved it, and when he tasted it, his love for it became more intense, and his longing for it greater. And it is established in the Sahih from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the hadith of the ascension of the angels to their Lord, that he, glorified is he, asks them about his servants, and he knows them best, and they say, they glorify you, and magnify you, and sanctify you. He says, and have they seen me? They say, no. He says, and how would it be if they were to see me? The angels say, if they were to see you, they would be even more intense in their glorification and sanctification and magnification. Then they say, and they ask of you the garden. He says, and have they seen it? They say, "No." He says, "And how would it be if they were to see it?" The angels say, if they were to see it, they would be even more intense in their seeking of it. And he mentioned the rest of the hadith. And it is known that the love of one who has tasted a pleasing thing and cannot bear to be without it is stronger than the love of one who has not tasted it, for his soul is weaned from it. And the affection and love between spouses after sexual union is greater than that which was before it. The natural cause is that the desire of the heart is mingled with the pleasure of the eye. So when the eye sees, the heart desires. And when the body touches the body, the desire 31b of the heart, the pleasure of the eye, and the pleasure of touch all come together. So when he departs from this state, his soul's yearning for it is more intense, and his longing for it greater, as it was said. And the greatest, the longing, is on a day when the dwellings draw near to the dwellings. And for that reason the pain and regret are multiplied for one who has seen his beloved or touched him and then is kept from him. The multiplication of his pain and regret is in proportion to the multiplication of the pleasure of one who returns to it. And this is even stronger in the case of a woman, for when she has tasted the little honey of a man, especially the first little honey, she can scarcely bear to be without him after that. Ayman ibn Khuraym said, "The mingling with women puts an end to reproach, and the avoidance of mingling revives the reproach." And Zuhair ibn Miskan al-Fihr married a young woman, but he did not have what would please her. When she gave herself to him, she did not find in him what would satisfy her, so she left and did not return to him. And he composed many verses about that, among them. She says, "After I have kissed her 1,000 kisses, enough have you naught besides kisses?" I said to her, "A love that the heart preserves, and a long weeping from which the eyes overflow." She said, "By the life of God, what is the pleasure of a man from a love in words that his deeds belie?" And another said, "Suad saw my love without union, and said, 'Our bond is a bond of severance. I do not want a love in which there is no pleasure from you that enters into my pleasure. If you were to kiss me 1,000 and 1,000 times, I would not be pleased, except by union.' When the ardent lover is not one of union, the beloved is seen as a thing wasted. The union of the ardent lover is the goal of every female, and his call is a call to the people of passionate love." I said to her, as she turned away, "Come back, for after this you will not be frightened, and if you were to ask for a single day to remain free from my union, you would not be obeyed." She said, "Welcome to a noble youth, and no welcome to the weak and submissive." 32a. When the husband is not one of union, he is seen in the house as a worthless belonging. And another said, "And when I complained of love, she said, 'You have lied to me. For how many a visit have I paid you in private?' But no waistband was untied therein for pleasure, and I returned with the needs of the heart just as they were." Is there any comfort for a man in coming to a watering hole, only to return after drinking, thirsty and parched? And Al-Abbas ibn al-Ahnaf said, "No union has been pure for two lovers who have not tasted a union that surpasses all other pleasures." And Hudbah ibn al-Khashram said, "By God, it does not heal the wandering heart, the blowing of incantations and your tying of amulets, nor conversation unless you cling close, nor clinging unless you kiss passionately, and the limbs climb upon the limbs." And another said, "Say to Attica, who in a single glance fulfilled her desire, 'Verily, I want you for marriage, I do not want you for gazing. If that were my goal, I would have been content with the moon.' And another said, "The cure for love is kissing and smelling, and the placing of bellies upon bellies, and a thrusting from which the two eyes shed tears, and a seizing of the shoulders and the horns of the head." And a woman said, when she was asked for conversation, "It was not for this that my mother commanded me, nor for kissing, nor for smelling, but for a union that might soothe my cares, from which my ring might fall into my sleeve." And the poet has revealed the cause of that, where he says, "If an ardent lover were to embrace his beloved 1,000 times, it would not avail, and the anguish and infatuation would increase." Their spirits had already been in harmony before this, and after them their bodies came into harmony. And it was said, "I asked the jurist of love about the malady of passion, and I said to him, I complain of my state to the sheikh. He said, the cure for love is that you press your innards against the innards of the one you desire when you are alone, and that you unite after that in an embrace, and that you kiss him until he is seen to forbid you. Then you may fulfill the needs of the heart in their entirety, in safety, as long as the beloved is compliant. If this is in what is lawful, then how wonderful is a union through which you will find the most merciful pleased. But if this is in what is unlawful, then verily it is a torment through which you will meet affliction and calamities. These have said, and love is not firmly established until the man has torn his cloak, and the beloved woman has torn her veil. As it was said, when a garment is torn, a veil is torn with the garment, turn by turn, until we are both unclothed. And how many a time have we torn an embroidered cloak, and a veil from a tender, not yet aged maiden? And when a certain wit heard the saying of Al-Mamun, love is naught but a kiss, the verses, he said, Al-Mamun hath lied. Then he said, and love hath laid an egg in my heart, so woe is me when it hatcheth. And what will my love avail me if I do not sweep the privy, and if the bald one doth not place his saddlebags upon the kitchen? And Ibn Aruma said, I embrace her, and yet the soul is still full of longing for her, and is there any closeness after the embrace? And I kiss her mouth that my ardour might cease. But what I feel of infatuation only intensifies. The measure of my passion was not such as to be cured by what the two lips sip. It is as if my heart's thirst cannot be quenched, save that I see the two spirits commingle. And At-Tabaran said in his Mu'jam al-Awsat, Bakr ibn Sahal related to us, saying, Abdullah ibn Yusuf related to us, saying, Muhammad ibn Muslim related to us, from Ibrahim ibn Maysara, from Tawus, from Ibn Abbas, may God be pleased with them both, that a man said, O Messenger of God, we have an orphan girl, and 2 men have proposed to her, a wealthy one and a poor one. She desires the poor one, and we desire the wealthy one. He replied, Nothing hath been seen for 2 who love each other like marriage. Abu al-Qasim at-Tabaran said, None related this from Tawus save Ibrahim, and none related it from Ibrahim save Muhammad ibn Muslim and Sufyan al-Thawra, and Mu'ammal ibn Ismail was alone in relating it from al-Thawra. End of quote. And Abu al-Faraj ibn al-Jawziyyah related it from the hadith of Hayyan ibn Bishr, who said, Ahmad ibn Harb related to us, saying, Ibn Uyayna related to us from Amr, from Jabir, and he mentioned it. And Al-Mu'affa ibn Imran said, Ibrahim ibn Yazid related to us from 35th S.E.A. Sulaiman ibn Musa, from Amr, from Tawus, from Ibn Abbas. May God be pleased with them both. And Al ibn Harb at-Ta' related to us, saying, Ibn Uyayna related to us from Ibrahim ibn Maysara, from Tawus. And Ad-Daraqutni mentioned it in his book Al-Gharaib and said, Yazid ibn Marwan was alone in relating it, from Umar ibn Harun, from Uthman ibn al-Aswad al-Makkah, from Ibrahim ibn Maysara, from Tawus. And Hind bint al-Muhallab said, I have seen nothing better for the righteous and the wicked among women than uniting them with the men in whom they find tranquillity. And many a man in whom tranquillity is found is of little worth, but tranquillity in any case is most suitable. And Al-Hakim mentioned in his history of Naisabur from the hadith of Abu Huraira, may God be pleased with him, raising it to the Prophet. 4 things are never satiated by 4: the earth by rain, a female by a male, an eye by gazing, and a scholar by knowledge. And this is definitively false as an attribution to the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, though it is often attributed to Abu Huraira. May God be pleased with him. And At-Tabaran mentioned in his Mu'jam al-Awsat from the hadith of Ibn Umar, raising it to the Prophet. The difference between the pleasure of a woman and the pleasure of a man is like the mark of a needle in clay, except that God hath veiled them with modesty. And he said, none related this from Layth, save Abu al-Musayyab Salm ibn Salam, from Suwaid, from Abdullah ibn Usama, from Yaqub ibn Khalid, from Atta, from Ibn Umar, may God be pleased with them both. I say, and this too is not authentically from the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, and its chain of transmission is obscure, and the like of it cannot be used as a proof. And a group of people held that sexual union corrupts passionate love and nullifies or weakens it. And they argued with several points. Among them, that sexual union is the end goal which is sought through passionate love. So, as long as the lover is seeking, his love remains firm. But when he reaches the goal, he has fulfilled his desire, the heat of his seeking has cooled, and the fire of his love has been extinguished. They said, and this is the state of every seeker of a thing when he attains it, like the thirsty one when he is quenched, and the hungry one when he is sated. So there is no meaning to seeking after attainment. Among them, that the cause of passionate love is of the mind. Whenever the thought is stronger, the love increases, and after attainment the thought no longer remains. Among them, that before attainment one is forbidden, and the soul is infatuated with what is forbidden to it, as the poet said 33b. And it increased my infatuation in love that she was forbidden. The most beloved of things to a man is what is forbidden. And another said, were it not for the pursuit of the hunt, there would be no pleasure. So pursue me with union for a little while. They said, and the people of the age of ignorance, in their state of disbelief, hoped for no reward, and feared no punishment. Yet they would preserve their passionate love from sexual union. As it is mentioned that a Bedouin fell in love with a woman, and he would visit her for years, and no impropriety occurred between them. He said, then one night I saw the whiteness of her palm in a dark night, and I placed my hand upon her hand. She said, stop, do not spoil what has been sound, for no love has ever been consummated but that it was spoiled. Al-Ma'mun took this and said, love is naught but a glance, and a squeeze of the hand and the upper arm, or letters containing charms, more potent than the blowing on knots. Love is naught but thus. If love is consummated, it is spoiled. He whose love is like this, verily, he seeketh but a child. And another desired a woman, and the state between them continued with meetings, conversation, and glances. Then he had union with her, and she cut off the bond between them. So he said, had I not had union with her, her bond with me would have lasted. So would that I had never had union with her. And it was said to another who complained of the separation from his beloved, "You have had union with her too often, and union leads to weariness. So be gentle with yourself, for gentleness is praised." And Umar ibn Shabba mentioned from one of the scholars of Medina, who said, "A man would love a girl, and if he was granted a meeting with her, they would complain to each other and recite poetry. Today he signals to her, and she signals to him. He makes a promise, and she makes a promise. And when they meet, he complains of no love and recites no poetry, but rises to her as if he had called Abu Huraira, may God be pleased with him, as a witness to their marriage. He had not yet taken a step from the inner doorway to depart, but that her anklet had already neared the earring. Al-Asma said, "I said to a Bedouin woman, 'What do you consider to be passionate love among you?' She said, 'The embrace, the hug, the squeeze, and conversation.' Then she said, 'O city dweller, and how is it with you?' I said, 'He sits between her four limbs, and then exerts himself upon her.' She said, 'O son of my brother, this is no lover, this is a seeker of a child.' And a Bedouin was asked about that, and he said, 'The sucking of saliva, the kissing of the beloved, and the taking of the finest conversation.' 34a. And how is it among you, O city dweller? He replied, 'The forceful pressing, the joining of the knee and the vein, and a thrusting that awakens the sleeper and heals the wandering heart.' He exclaimed, 'By God, not even a fierce enemy would do this. So how could a loving friend?' And one of them said, 'Love is made pleasant by gazing, and it is corrupted by lewdness.' These people said, 'And true love necessitates the veneration and reverence of the beloved, and modesty before him. So one's soul does not permit him to cast off the cloak of modesty in the presence of his beloved, nor to have it cast off from him, for in that is the utmost of his humiliation and subjugation, as it was said. If the portion of a man from the one he loves is unlawful, then my portion is what is lawful and beautiful. Conversation, like the water of the rain clouds between its parts, a reproach by which the beauty of the conversation is embellished, and the kissing of a mouth with sweet gums, as if they were honey in which cloves have been crumbled. And passionate love is naught but chastity and integrity, and the intimacy of hearts, whose intimacy is flirtatious verse. And verily I feel shame before the beloved from that which is suspicious, and I am called to what is beautiful, and I act beautifully. And some of them claimed that it used to be stipulated between the beloved and the lover that he had from her upper half to her navel, and he could take from it what he wished of embracing, kissing, and sipping, but the lower half was forbidden to him. And concerning that, the poet of the people said, 'For the lover there is a half that is free from its tether, and for the husband a half that is sacrosanct, not to be approached.' And another said, 'She hath a half that is lawful and permissible, and a half that is like the consecrated she-camel, not to be touched.' This was from the religion of the age of ignorance, but the divine law nullified it and made both halves for the husband. And the poets, one and all, see no harm in conversing with and looking at women who are not their kin. And this is contrary to the divine law and to reason, for in it is an exposure of one's natural disposition to that to which it is created to incline. And the natural disposition steals and overcomes. And how many have been tempted by that in their religion and their worldly life? If it is said, but Al-Hakim has recited in his Manaqib al-Shafi' as attributed to him, they say, 'Do not look,' and that is an affliction. But nay, every possessor of two eyes must surely look. 34b. And the anointing of the eye with the eye is no cause for suspicion, if the conscience between them remains chaste. If this is authentically from Ash-Shafi, he intended only the glance that does not fall under legal obligation, such as the unexpected glance or the permissible glance. And Abu Bakr ibn Dawud al-Asfahan held the view that it is permissible to look at one who is not lawful for him, as his words will come later, God willing. Abu al-Faraj ibn al-Jawz said, and he erred in that, and his error brought upon him ill repute among the people and exposed him to disgrace. And Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm held the view that it is permissible to have passionate love for a woman who is not one's kin, without any impropriety. And he erred in that with a manifest error, for the means to passionate love is greater than the means to a glance. If the divine law has forbidden the glance for the corruption it leads to, as will be explained later, God the Exalted willing, then how can it be permissible for a man to engage in passionate love for one who is not lawful for him? The point is that this group held that sexual union spoils passionate love, so they were protective of it from what would spoil it, even if they did not abandon it for religious reasons. It was said to one of the Bedouins, "What does one of you attain from his beloved when he is alone with her?" He said, "Touching, kissing, and what is similar to them." The questioner asked, "And do they go so far as sexual union?" He replied, "By my father and my mother, this is no lover. This is a seeker of a child." And it is recounted that a man was passionately in love with a woman, and one day she said to him, "Your love is sound, not infirm." And they used to call love based on fornication infirm love. He said, "Yes." She said, "Then let us go to the house." And no sooner had she arrived at his house than he had no other desire but to have union with her. She said to him while he was in that state, "You have been excessive in your union with us, and union is a severer, so be gentle with yourself, for gentleness is praised." He said to her, while still in his state, "Had I not had union with you, our love would not have lasted. But this action of mine is the action of one driven to his utmost." She recoiled from beneath him and said, "O wicked one, I see you are the opposite of what you said about the soundness of your love. You have made my union with you nothing but a cause for the departure of your love. By God, no roof will ever cover you and me together." The rest of the discussion on this will come in the chapter on the chastity of lovers, God, the Exalted, willing. The decisive word between the two groups is that unlawful 35a sexual union spoils love, and it is inevitable that the love between them will end in enmity, mutual hatred and loathing, as is witnessed by the eye. For every love that is for other than God, its end is loathing and hatred, so how much more so when it is accompanied by what is among the greatest of major sins. And this is an enmity that precedes the greater enmity of which God, the Exalted, has said, "Friends on that day will be enemies to one another, except for the righteous." Az-Zukhruf 67. And we shall mention God, the Exalted, willing those who attained their beloved and yet refrained from fulfilling their desire with him out of a wish for their love to endure, and for fear that it would turn into loathing and hatred in the chapter that has been promised, for that is more fitting for it. As for lawful sexual union, it increases love if it coincides with the lover's desire. For when he tastes its pleasure and its flavour, it creates in him another desire that was not present before the tasting. For this reason, two who are newly wed can scarcely bear to be apart from each other. This is as long as nothing befalls the love to spoil it and cause it to be transferred to someone other than the beloved. As for what the others have argued, the answer is that the desire and will have not been completely extinguished, but rather the desire of that moment has subsided, and then its like will return. This is only apparent when one of them is absent from his beloved. Otherwise, as long as he is in his sight, and he is able to have him whenever he wishes, the soul finds tranquillity in that, and is at ease. And this is the state of everyone who has in his presence what he needs of food, drink, and clothing, and is able to have it. His soul is at ease with it. But if he is kept from it, his seeking for it, and his soul's yearning for it intensifies. Furthermore, whenever the lover of a thing indulges excessively in his beloved, his soul recoils from it, and perhaps his love turns into aversion. A further explanation of this will come in the chapter on the solace of lovers, God, the exalted, willing. And the impulse to love from the side of the beloved is his beauty, whether it be the outward or the inward, or both together. So, whenever he is beautiful in form, and beautiful in character, disposition, and qualities, the impulse from him is stronger. And the impulse to love from the side of the lover is four things. The first, the glance, either with the eye or with the heart, if he has been described to him. For many a man loves another, and is consumed 35b with love for him, yet has never seen him, but he has been described to him. For this reason the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, forbade a woman to describe another woman to her husband, to the point that it is as if he is looking at her. And the hadith is in the Sahih. The second, finding him pleasing. For if his glance does not engender finding him pleasing, love will not occur. The third, thinking of the one looked upon, and the soul conversing about him. For if he is distracted from him by something else that is more important to him, the love for him will not take root in his heart, even if he is not free from fleeting thoughts and passing fancies. For this reason it was said, passionate love is the movement of an empty heart. And whenever this glance, this finding him pleasing, and this thought encounter an empty heart, it takes hold of it, as it was said. Her passion came to me before I knew what passion was, and it found a heart that was empty, so it took hold. If it is said, then does it depend on the hope of attaining the beloved or not? It is said, people in this are of different kinds. Among them are those who have a passionate love for absolute beauty. His heart is attached to it wherever its caravans may halt, and wherever its tents may be pitched. This one's love does not depend on hope. Among them are those who have a passionate love for a particular beauty, whether his soul hopes for union with it or not. Among them are those who have a passionate love only for one whom his soul hopes to have union with. If he despairs of him, the love for him does not take root in his heart. And all three kinds are found among people. So when the glance, the finding him pleasing, the thought and the hope are all present, his turmoil is stirred, and he exposes his vital parts to his beloved, and his malady becomes firm, and the physicians are unable to find a cure for him. By God, passion hath not taken a lover captive, but that his release hath become a mighty task for souls. And since the glance is the beginning of passionate love, it is befitting for the one who is unattached that he not expose his soul to perpetual captivity by means of his eye. And since our discourse has led us to the glance, let us mention its ruling and its perils.